Good evening, Dolphin fans. Welcome to the premiere edition of Fins Talk Overtime. We told you we were going to be here regularly. It's not going to be a once every 6 month thing. We're back. Isn't that amazing? Look who's here, guys. Bret's here. Not sometimes, all the time. You know who also I convinced to join? The man in black, my brother, Bobby Finstock, and my proud papa, Greg. How you three doing tonight?
Doing great.
I'm good.
Excellent. New GM.
Yeah,
good
so
news
guys,
today.
so guys, breaking news. Chris Greer's back as general manager. Wait.
I knew it.
Wait. Just kidding. Guys, they kept their promise. They moved quite along fast, firing Greer early. We ended up working out. Troy Aikman seemed to be very involved and was gung-ho for this guy at the beginning. Jon Eric-Sullivan of the Green Bay Packers is the new general manager, but don't call him Jon Eric. Call him J.E. Call him Sully. But
Sully.
Don't call him. So Sully, you don't like J.E.?
No, I like Sully. I think Captain Sully works well.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Sully Sullenberger, so he might overtake that number. So, guys, new general manager. I found out this morning, officially in the last hour, the Dolphins made it official. It's no longer per sources. In a couple of minutes, as I get your both opinions, I will pull up the statements from both Stephen Ross and Jon Eric-Sullivan, or Sully, like we like to call him. So initial reaction to Bobby, since I know you want to step out in a little bit. So take it first and give us your initial opinion and what you were doing. Where were you? Because I'm probably going to ask you in a year from now, where were you when Jon Eric-Sullivan, Sully, J.E. Sullivan was named general manager of our Miami Dolphins?
Well, I just want to say a year from now, depending on how this team's going to be doing, and I will tell people patience, because the way he does things or the way the Packers do things, it's always a slow build. I don't expect any kind of rush or anything like that. But I will tell you a year from now when you tell me, where were you? This team sucks. He should be fired. Look what he did here. I'm going to say, Evan, give it time, brother. Slow down, bro. He's the new Chris Greer. Stop it, Evan. No. Man, I actually got a message from our good friend Rob of Dolphins Thirsty. Texted me. We got him. And my mind automatically went to Sully and Jon Eric-Sullivan.
Shout out to Rob, because that's how I found out too.
Yeah, he was texting all of us, and so shout out to him. I know he's been offline, he was on a couple shows, but he's been offline, so it's good to see that he is still in the zone on it. I was very happy, Evan. When we discussed the general managers and when we saw when Troy Aikman was brought on as a consultant, what I zoned in on was when the type of general manager they were looking for. And that was somebody who has plenty of experience as a scout, strong experience as a scout. And that eliminated a lot of popular names for some people. I know a lot of people like Alec Hallaby from Philadelphia. He's analytics. We talked about, I think Bret was with us. Greg, we crossed that name out. But Jon Eric-Sullivan really rose really fast up that list. Ian Cunningham was a name that I brought up, but he didn't get up there. But Chad Alexander did. Josh Williams as well, who was a finalist. This was, I think, I'm really happy. I said this to, oh my goodness, who wrote it? Either way, I'll just say, it was Bret. I responded to Bret's comment because he tagged me on it, I believe. That I just said was, he does, great hire, but hopefully Ross stays out of the way. And I said, you know what? Looking at the way this was done, years, Evan and I were joking about it, but I was like, Evan, they'll never get rid of Greer. He asked something on Ross, lawsuit, they got rid of Greer. They got rid of the 2-player personnel guys. They benched 2 after no one was saying they were going to bench 2. They did it. Then they fired. Then they don't fire McDaniel right away. He talked to McDaniel, which was understandable. He took his time. He slept on it and said, you know what? No, the best thing forward is to move on from McDaniel now before hiring a GM. He did it, and then hires from the outside, brings an outside voice into this GM search, gets their opinion, which is Troy Aikman, which to me was a home run just because it was an outside voice. It's not the same people. They go in there, they bring in a bunch of qualified guys. Evan, your biggest fear was 49er guys because, what does this mean for McDaniel? When it said, no, none of this had to do with me, just like none of these general manager search had nothing to do with John Harbaugh. We all, most everybody, I know Bret will have his name, most everybody would like to see Harbaugh as their guy, right? But what I loved about Miami, and I said this to Bret on Twitter, on X, was Miami did this hire outside of the Harbaugh. Like, this doesn't mean that eliminates Harbaugh to the Dolphins. But this is not them going, oh, we're gonna go ahead and hire this GM just with the hope of getting John Harbaugh, like hiring Chad Alexander just so we could get, and then you don't get Harbaugh, and then you're with, not that Alexander's bad. I actually like Alexander, and I believe he'll be a good GM one day. But you go and get the best guy for the job, strong scouting experience. You look at what they've done in history throughout their history of scouting and drafting and how they built that team. And, they've had some down years, but they're consistently competitive. To me, this was the best man for the job. And I just love it because the truth is, I know right now, like, so we may have our doubts here and there. You might look at some of it and go, But the truth is, this is the first time, Bret, Greg, Sammy, Evan, Miami in Stephen Ross's era since ownership with a clean slate. This is the first time, it's always been a head coach and then looking for a GM, then a GM and a coach and a coach and a coach. Now it's, you got your GM. Now they're piling the list. We should see some names pop up between tonight and tomorrow. They're starting to get interviews or requesting interviews that we're going to get a clear picture of where this is going to go. My first reaction to this is I love it. I'm very happy for this hire. I know we brought him up. Some of our friends have brought him up, and it actually happened. And I know I think the consensus amongst Dolphin fans is we're excited about what the future may hold with with Sully as the new general manager of the Miami Dolphins. You're on mute, host. Come on, man. You need me to take over for you?
Yeah. No, I'm actually.
I think you need a producer.
I was actually multitasking because I have a special surprise for everybody.
Bobby, he's still riding the high of McDaniel getting fired. He's still
I'm
trying to get
living
his
in cloud nine, guys. But I will tell you guys, I just appreciate Finn, Sammy, for you joining us tonight. I hope, by the way, Sammy, you have an open invitation anytime we do a show. We're coming live. You have an open invitation because I know you don't do Finn's TV as often in the off season. You're welcome here anytime, buddy. So I just want to take a moment for everyone to read the statements if you haven't had a chance to hear them. So this is coming from Sully. What an incredible honor it is to serve as general manager of the Miami Dolphins, an organization of history, tradition, and great pride. I want to express my gratitude to Stephen Ross and his family for their exceptional opportunity and the belief they've placed in me to lead this storied franchise forward. I also want to thank the entire Packers organization, especially Brian Gutekunst and the late Ted Thompson for their leadership and allowing me to be entrenched in a process that has brought me more than 30 years of sustained success in Green Bay. Now, as we forge ahead, we will build a team that is resilient, physical, and tough. We will compete no matter the circumstances with the ultimate goal of competing for division championships and Super Bowls. Our team building process will be intentional, disciplined, and sound, and we will do it together with collaboration, hard work. Has always been a team sport. I can't wait to get it started. And just to add a statement from Stephen Ross, I can't be more excited to welcome Jon Eric-Sullivan as our next general manager. Jon Eric brings a clear vision for how to build and run a football team founded on his own experience at winning organization. As we went through the search process, it became undeniable that respect Jon Eric has across the league as a talent evaluator, leader, and man of integrity. We had an extremely talented group of candidates, and Jon Eric's ability to stand out so clearly speaks to how impressive he is, not only for his experience, but also his depth of knowledge, skill-oriented approach, and his passion. I believe we found the best in Jon Eric, and I look forward to working with him as he leads us into a new era of Dolphins football. Now, Sammy, I'm going to give you the chance, but you know what this guy sounds like? And I know it's just lip service. It sounds like Bret and Greg. We'll get there in a second. Sammy, what was your initial reaction? I'm sure you also had the chance to read the statements, but I'm not sure people in the comments have. So what's your initial reaction to the fact that now it's no longer sources, it's official? You talked about it last night that this was your guy. So give me your initial feelings right now.
I am elated. I think that this is the right choice. But I had to I know some people the post I did. I had to warn Vince Nation. It's gonna take a while. The Packers way takes a little while. What they let things simmer. They develop players. They often double down if the best available player, is there and they're good at the position, but that is obvious that the best available player is someone else at the same position, they're gonna double down. So that kind of worries me because that's something that we had over here sometimes that don't balance roster. So that kind of worries me. But
did he freeze?
Steven Ross sucks and Steven Ross did.
Oh no.
You're breaking up, buddy.
Is he doing a mannequin challenge?
So
no, I think it's the San Juan power.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. The San Juan power outage.
I heard Ross sucks.
Ross something.
I was kind of behind that a little bit.
I miss McDaniel. What were you saying?
Cheers, Bret. Drink. So basically it's the same thing. Everybody was criticizing that nobody want the Dolphins job. They're more lining up to get the Dolphins job. I think it's a great job, and hopefully Steven Ross get out of his way. So hopefully the son-in-law is a new leaf that this franchise basically starts doing something different. It's the first time, like Bobby said, that I think ever since Jimmy Johnson actually came a lot of holdovers at first from the Chula coaching staff even. So it's been a while, maybe ever since this organization out with the quarterback, out with the GM, out with the head coach, out with the scouting department, moving on from analytics to scouting. Those are huge changes. So hopefully it works. Now the interesting part here, who's going to be the head coach? Because it's going to be really interesting. Hopefully they find someone who I'm kind of worried that I don't want to think that when the head coach, if the defense guy I think Bobby said that too, calls the defensive plays, or if an offensive guy calls the plays, I want someone who looks over the structure and is the coach, makes the decisions. That would be great. So again, I would like someone with experience. I'm going to keep the record on that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to go probably the realm of first-time head coach. So we have to wait and see. But overall, I think it's a great hire. I really laid out with the hire.
Thanks, Sammy. Appreciate that. We're going to talk about the head coaches later on in the show because they're already jumping interviews. Don't be surprised if we see interviews starting as early as tomorrow or Saturday. I predict that we'll talk about it. I predict a head coach by midweek, probably by the time Bobby, you do East Country Boys, something like that. If you probably have a show next week, I'm not sure but by midnight, I say by Wednesday, the Dolphins have a coach. So Bret, what's your initial reaction to the hiring?
I loved it for multiple reasons. One, be honest, we don't know how he's going to do as a GM, but none of us can really answer that, right? That's just plain and simple. It doesn't matter who it is. They can come from the Eagles, they can come from the Ravens, the Packers, and be awful. We don't know. But what we do know is he comes from an organization that is very good at developing scouts, developing talent evaluators, developing talent, drafting, and not trading picks, not trading. They don't spend a lot of money. They use what they have. And if you could bring that mindset to Miami, and like Greg pointed out to us before, there's probably going to be more money, more willingness to spend from the ownership. Will they kind of stay true to themselves and say, just because we had the money, we need to blow it. We need to be smart and build this team the right way with the vision. Green Bay has developed their scouts for a long time. It's been going on for a very long time. Mike Holmgren days in the 90s and Mike Sherman, and it just kind of stayed going. And it's a lot like the Ravens, the Steelers, the Eagles. And that's something that I would love to see kind of develop future-wise. And he's still youthful. He's under 50 years old. He's in his later 40s.
I think he just turned 50.
Okay, wait. So he's still youthful enough, and he's still
buck.
Yeah. I mean, he still comes from the mentality, though, in a sense. Hey,
he's Brady's age. He's Brady's age.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look, he understands today's style of football, which is, quarterback, premium positions, corner, wide receiver. Green Bay always has that. And I just actually looked at their drafts. Green Bay doesn't take a lot of early offensive linemen. When they do, they miss on them. So they usually get premium positions, especially corner and pass rusher. They're pretty good about getting that.
Wide receiver.
Yeah.
They've done well with Dobbs and
right.
And Tucker
but
Kraft.
Even when they get defensive tackles, Kenny Clark, he's a standout game wrecker. Finn Sammy did bring up a point, though. That sometimes it takes a little bit to get going, and because they're patient, because they see the long-term view, like Rashawn Gary as an example. His first year was just kind of like a transition, but his next year he started really showing out, and after that. So, but the thing is, Green Bay's not afraid to say, we missed, move on, right? That's the biggest thing. Doubling down when you miss and saying, we're going to sign Austin Jackson and Tua and all these awful players that we missed on. Well, that you double down and say, that's our guy we don't need to improve on. Well, you should just, I missed, let's move on. So, but I'm excited about that because it comes from that. I'm also excited about the coaches he's worked with in his career, guys from the West Coast system, guys from the Shanahan system. And I know the Shanahan system's a little overhyped, but the rumors of Matt LaFleur could be fired if they lose this game. That could be a huge coach for us. Kevin Stefanski, I don't care what anybody says. he's done well with so many quarterbacks and so many running backs that people haven't heard of, and like no names at wide receiver. He's had constant overturn on offense, but his defense has been good. His offenses have been over. He's got the best out of Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum.
Thirsty's here.
Hey, Rob. Yo, thanks for giving us all of us
the heads up. We were all breaking news from That
was awesome. But no, so like,
oh God, he's already sucking.
Oh, no, but honestly, I love the hire. I think it doesn't take John Harbaugh out because the director of player personnel in Green Bay is from the Ravens, so there is a connection there. But it's also connected to both OC and DC at Green Bay. Anthony Campanelli, who was a linebacker coach / assistant DC in Green Bay for a year after leaving us. So that's one of the names brought up. So there's a few names that make sense that are younger coach. I'm okay with the young coach as an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, as long as they hire the right coordinators and all. Darrell Bevel, our quarterback coach, who's been a respected quarterback coach across the league, he spent a lot of time in Green Bay. The same time Sullivan was there, I could see him staying even as like an assistant head coach. I text that to Bobby. Obviously, Mike McCarthy is kind of like the low-hanging fruit. You know, like, oh, he's familiar with it. But I kind of think Mike McCarthy would be interviewed like if we get Joe Hafley or we get whoever else, they might ask Mike McCarthy to see if he's willing to be an assistant head coach or associate head coach / offensive coordinator to be a veteran to the younger head coach. I don't know.
But I'd be open with. I'd be if you got a
Romeo Crennel type of thing.
Yeah,
I'm not against Mike McCarthy at all. But if that was a case, like I want the veteran coach. But if that was the case, if you got one of those Green Bay guys, Bret, I would be down with that.
But I'm just going to point out for those of you who want Harbaugh, not McCarthy, Mike McCarthy and Harbaugh have the same record.
Yeah, you should.
Career-wise and playoff.
Yeah, he
record.
does.
Mike McCarthy has one less win than John Harbaugh.
And I just want to say, because I know a lot of people, I just want to say too, because a lot of people are saying, oh, well, one had Joe Flacco, the other one had Aaron Rodgers. But, you know, I'm going to say, and I know Josh Wingate is not a big fan of McCarthy because he's a Dallas fan. But if you look at what he did in Dallas and what he did for Dak Prescott, you know, and those three, he coached for 4 years, McCarthy would be a solid at what he did. So you're right. Yeah. For those who are saying Harbaugh over McCarthy or one or the other, it's pretty damn similar down the line.
So I want real quick, I want to point out that both organizations, and the reason I like to hire, both of those organizations also found back-to-back quarterbacks in the first round, going from Flacco to Jackson, Rodgers to Love.
He Favre to Love.
Yeah, but Sullivan wasn't there with Favre. You know what I mean? But
when did Favre leave? No, he was there when they drafted Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. No,
when did they draft Aaron Rodgers? What year?
2005.
Yeah, so he was there. He was there in 2003. He joined in 2003.
Okay. I thought he was there a year or two
after. He was there at the tail end.
That's right. He was with Mike Sherman. So he was there. So he was there when they drafted two quarterbacks in the first round. So he was there for that. And so I'm just pointing out that he understands, and they got those quarterbacks in the 20s. I'm just saying, Drew Allard in the 20s, I'm okay with it.
Me too. So, Greg, before you go, because you got the floor is yours, because you've been so patient. Because this is the statement this is something that Jon Eric-Sullivan has said, and I want you to lead into it and take the time and expand on it, being our more experienced, and you've coached and you've developed. When I was done playing, okay. So before, what I realized early, I missed here. He explained his approach to team building. I've always been taught that the draft is your lifeblood. You build through the draft. It's a young man's game. You want to make sure you're acquiring young, talented players that fit your culture. You supplement through free agency. Those are dangerous waters to tread in all the time because teams typically aren't moving good players who are healthy or are good in the locker room. Chris Greer. You've got to build through the draft and supplement the free agency. You always have to assess your quarterback situation. Make sure you have the trigger man you can win with. He's not a fan of groupthink. If you think agreeing, nobody is thinking. If I'm a decision maker and have a bunch of guys in the room tell me what I want to hear, that's not very valuable to me. Seems like something like Greg. This is sort of how you behave.
And basically, you just read the quote that basically I was like, yeah, this is. If he means this is the guy that I'm a fan of, right? Look. He was my choice. I didn't necessarily think that he was going to be the first choice of the Dolphins, but I liked him. And And the fact that he interviewed basically for every GM job last year and didn't get it. All right. In my mind, that kind of even helped me like him a little bit more, if that's possible, right? I mean, you got to understand your faults. You got to understand why you didn't get jobs. You got to learn from your mistakes, and it sounds like he did. All right, you know, the other candidates, I'm sure, were fine candidates and things like that, but yeah, I've been saying for years, the best way to win in the NFL is cheap, highly productive talent. You only get cheap, highly productive talent through the draft. Okay, you can buy production, but it's expensive, and it limits how you can build your overall roster. You need cheap, productive talent. That's draft. You need to find a quarterback that you can win with, that can win you games. 100% agree with that. I've been saying that for years as well, right? I am pumped by what he said about free agency. You go get that free agent that's going to put you over the edge. You know, he talks about Reggie White, Ron Wolf, you know, going after Reggie White. He talks about Ted Thompson going after Charles Woodson and the guy from Carolina. He's Hall of Famer.
Julius Peppers.
Thank you. All right, I had it. I was thinking of him 5 minutes ago before I got out, and all of a sudden I moved brain lock on me. You know, those are the types of players you get in a free agency. You don't need to do big free agent spending free. You fill the holes and you get an impact player when you need it. So I am pumped by this.
Yeah. My
only caveat, okay, and I say this because I grew up in Chicago. I've been kind of a fan of the Packers because I didn't like the Bears. All right, for a long time, right? So it's always fun to go to my Chicago friends, and I still do. But their unique ownership system basically prevents them from spending a lot of money in free agency. Now he's got an owner who basically has limitless pockets. You know, I mean, he'll buy you whatever you want in a way.
He's buying him a house. He's
a sugar daddy. What is this?
Yeah. I just hope that he doesn't fall into that trap that, hey, let's continue to do this the way we did it in Green Bay. Build through the draft.
Winning model. It's a winning model.
Build through the draft. You know, go after your positional value, high positional value early in the draft. All right. And find that trigger man.
Yeah.
You do that, you put yourself in a position for sustained success. It doesn't mean you're going to win championships. It doesn't mean you're going to be in a Super Bowl, but you're always going to be in the conversation.
Yeah. It's just like Green Bay, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Like, we never look at Pittsburgh, even in down here, and say, oh, they're a bad team. You always look at Pittsburgh, even with the backup quarterback, Mason Rudolph, and you say, they can beat us because they're always a well-coached team, and they always have some talent on there, right? So it's that, and that's what Green Bay is, one of those teams where it's like they're never a walkover, even in a bad season.
And they're not afraid to go get back. They're not afraid to go get QB competition, and they're not afraid to go. Even in Green Bay, nowhere they have the right backups at the right time. And the next man up, and they go get coaches. You know what I like? They go get coaches who have been head coaches before, and are willing to make them DCs to audition. They're not afraid of bringing in people that can help to make the team better.
But they're also not afraid to say, this is what we do. He doesn't fit that. We're not drafting him. He's off our board. That's something I love because this is what we do. This is what we go for. And, hey, that coach got fired. We're going to bring a coach in who's similar as far as ski-wise, who does what we do because we can keep our drafting system the same.
And I'll say this as well, all right? We don't want Mike McCarthy anywhere near this team.
I really don't.
You really, really don't.
I'm hoping it's just because it's just putting links together.
He burns bridges everywhere he goes, and there's
Hey, if you've been with Jerry Jones, you're cursed.
Well, I also think that he did burn, from what we heard, he burned the bridges in Green Bay, and I don't think that he's on the radar. But the only reason I mentioned him is because a couple people were linking it that Mike McCarthy, but I think that's just the whole simple, he's coached the Packers when he was there.
You ask, let's put it this way. I know quite a few Packer fans. Not a single one of them likes that guy. And they loved it when he went to Dallas. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
well, wait. That kind of points to your point that you get the quarterback and the front office, and the coaching falls, and everything kind of falls together.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
it works. So Sammy and Bobby, I want to just read you guys this. What was your initial reaction? Because I'm not sure when you hear this. A scouting intern in 2003. He was in his late 20s. Then he became, for 4 years, he was an NFS scout for football operations. Then college scout in the Plains area from 2008 to 2011. Then he was a college scout in the southeast part of the U.S. from 2012 to 2015. Then he was a director of college scouting for 2 seasons from 2016 to 2017. Then for 4 years, 3 to 4 years, he was the co-director of player personnel. And then he became the vice president of player personnel from 22 to 25. So when you hear that, Bobby, and then Sammy, is that a good enough resume to be a general manager in the NFL? Have we ever had that here?
Yes. Lengthy.
It's a great.
Lengthy.
It's pretty amazing, eh? It's pretty amazing that a guy got. I want to get your reaction by it. Like, we had a guy here for 25 years, and he didn't have much. But this guy actually has been with the same franchise for 25 years, and actually was successful. Right.
Well, and it's not just about being successful, because Greer was with Miami as long as Jon Eric-Sullivan was with Green Bay almost. The difference was that Jon Eric-Sullivan, you look at what they did in Green Bay, the people he was working with, the different type of coaches, the different type of, from Ted Thompson to forgetting the other general manager's name.
Brian Gutekunst and Ted.
Yeah, and even you guys say that about Mike McCarthy, but even Mike McCarthy winning, the Super Bowl and with that record and what he was able to build and, learning from all different types of coaches, that's what makes it very attractive, what he learned from, what he's built from. The difference with Greer is, you look at who Greer learned from and where he came from, it's not as attractive. That's what stands out to me about Jon Eric-Sullivan. And I know a lot of people are already jumping on the boat of, this guy's the automatic favorite and that guy's the automatic. I just let it play out.
Yeah.
There's names that are being thrown out there that I'm like, that guy's only been a coordinator for a season. This guy's only done this for it's the same thing over and over and over again. Again, my preference is a veteran coach. But with how everything's played out, I'm okay. Like if they once the names come out, I'm not going to be all, bung humbug or whatever, Scrooge over any name that comes out. I know what my preference is because I'm kind of sick of coordinators, but I think Sammy hit the nail on the head because I've been preaching this for a while. I want a coach who's going to be the head coach. I don't want a coach who's going to, unless it is a guy, again, with experience who's done it before, who's, that the Andy Reids of the world, the McCarthy's, the whatever. But if it's a coordinator, I need a guy who's going to be a coach. I don't need, go get Lafley. Well, if he's going to call defensive plays, I'd rather someone else go get him. No. I want a guy who's going to be being the head coach, hire a great staff, put a staff together. That's what I would want. And that's what I hope Sully would want. But again, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see.
I won't be calling him McDummy or McDumbass, or I won't. So like he doesn't have a name where I can make fun of him, guys. But I just wanted to ask Sammy this question. So
I'll find a way to make fun of him.
I know.
If I have to. In 3 years, I'll admit that I'm wrong. If he screws up, I'll admit that I was wrong, and I'll come after him, just like I did with Greer.
There you go.
They haven't announced. I don't know when they're gonna. They haven't announced his official position. Yes, he's GM, but he was vice president of player personnel, so we don't know if he's going to get that role. But Sammy, your initial reaction now, though, with this hire, do you still feel like there still needs to be a separation between him and Ross, or do you feel that they need to bring in a clear definition of roles where Brandon Shore reports into him? Like, what do you see with him coming in, his experience, his knowledge from what we've read about him? What do you want to see in the organizational structure, ideally in your mind, right now that he's getting the job? What do you still want to see in the front office?
It's interesting because I do believe that the way they're going to set up this is they're going to have Brandon Shore on top and everybody under. So, that's going to create a lot of restraint for the money wise. But what really worries me going under is that the Packers have been famous even from the 90s. So if we're going to grant you, even same as the 49ers, we're going to grant you an interview, but if you leave, you cannot take anyone from here. You're not going to take assistants. You're not going to take scouts. You cannot take anyone from here. And they had kind of an honor system in the 90s after Holmgren, where if you leave, you cannot take people from the organization. So if that's still the case, it's going to be very interesting to see as to why, where, how he's going to get the people he needs to rebuild the Dolphins front office, the scouting department, and everything else. That could be a challenge if that's the case. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully things have changed so much that that's not the case anymore. But it used to be the case that way with the Packers, with the 49ers, they were very strict. You can leave. We're going to grant you the opportunity to interview whatever, but you cannot take assistants. I think Mike McDaniel had that same problem. He could not take assistant for the 49ers when he came here. So it happens. We have to wait and see. But I'm afraid Brandon Shore is the man on top, the one who reports to Russ, and then everything's under. If that's the case, it basically goes with the same philosophy. We gotta get a GM who is gonna rely a lot on the draft, who's gonna be cost effective. I think the coach said it. Coach May said that you gotta have to draft well. You have to draft a lot. You're gonna have to get a lot of young talent to supersede the problem that you actually have a quarterback next year that's not gonna be there, but it's gonna cost you against the cap. So that's a challenge. So it's gonna be interesting. But I do believe that they're gonna say Brandon Shore is on top, which I don't like. And then that he's gonna have problem basically building a scout team and a front office, because I don't think the Packers are gonna let anyone come here with him to the Dolphins.
Yeah, before you talk, Brett, I want to lead in. I want you both and Greg to follow up, but I was going to ask a question that now I'm losing my train of thought on. But you could go and continue to say on the same line, and I'll come back with the question.
So I don't know that. So Brandon Shore's listed as of right now as Senior Vice President, Football and Business Administration. So he's built the team for 16 years. So he pretty much started with Ross. He's pretty much been our cap money guy forever. I don't suspect that he's necessarily in charge of anything other than managing the cap and money and spending. I'm pretty sure he's the mouthpiece for Greer of what they're allowed to spend. He's like the accountant, if you will. Like he's the mouthpiece to say, like, this is how much we're allowed to spend, and he's the one that, like, Ross says, go ahead, get this guy. Go ahead. How much is that trading those draft picks to move up in the draft? How much more is it going to cost? How much is that free agent going to cost? I'm pretty sure that's kind of but I think that they need to have clear and defined roles. That's been a major issue with the Dolphins for the entire time under Ross. Roles have not been very clear. Guys have fought and argued. Philbin was given some say over the roster, but then Ireland wanted control. He got rid of Ireland, and then he tried to find a GM to work with Philbin, and then that didn't work. He fired Philbin. The GM walked. They promoted Greer. It was like, whose role was what? Then you had Mike Tannenbaum, and it was always like, who's making these decisions? You had rumors in 2018 of fighting over which quarterback they wanted, so Greer took a safety.
The final say.
Yeah, so it's like it was always clear and defined. It was pretty common knowledge where, like, people at the Senior Bowl were talking about how sloppy and messy it was, because I was down there in 2022 when they were looking for a head coach, and the talk was like, can't believe they got rid of Flores and kept Greer, and like, who the hell's going to want to go to that mess right now? And that's what so this is a chance to start over. You get a clear and defined roles, and what they need to do is let Sullivan be the one who makes the decision on the head coach, be the one who makes the decision on the players and understands, but he goes out and gets a head coach that he understands, hey, this is the system he runs. I know his system because I scouted for that system, and that's what we're going to do. That's the system we're going to have here all the time. So no matter who our head coach is, no matter who our offensive coordinator is, who our defensive coordinator is, we're going to run the same system or variations of, so we can always get the same players no matter what. Going from Mike McCarthy to Matt LaFleur, the systems were close enough to where Green Bay still gets the Green Bay style players, and they still do the same thing, and the system's smooth transition. So that's So clear defined roles would allow him to do what he does best. If not, then it's just a failure on Ross to not allow guys to just work to their strength, because that's what leadership does. Hey, this is what you do. Do it. Here's the free range to do what you do best. Go do it. And if you don't do that, you just cause issues. Like if he goes against John Harbaugh and say, "Oh, I hired you as a GM, but I'm getting John Harbaugh. He gets all the say of the roster." That would be kind of crappy, because, I mean, at that point, Sullivan would have just stayed the VP of player operations under Gutekunst, the GM in Green Bay, versus working under John Harbaugh in Miami. The point of him getting the GM job was to be the GM, to be the guy. Yeah. That's my opinion.
Yeah. So, I want to ask Greg that. So, Greg, I'm sure when in the interview process, Jon Eric-Sullivan was given a mandate. What do you want in your role? I can't see him basically coming in here and having to report to somebody who's already been here already. Like, let's say you're the owner, or they bring in someone he wants to work with who's a VP of player personnel, and if he doesn't want to do it himself, or if he decides, I see him being the lead guy and being able to build his stuff, because if he doesn't have full control, why does he take this job? So what do you want? And what do you think when you find out exactly what his role is? Because people are going to ask what the setup and the structure is going to be. What do you think he got, and what would you expect? What would you want him to have in terms of the control and power in the front office?
I from what I've read, and basically I didn't know who Jon Eric-Sullivan was up until maybe 2 or 3 days ago, right? But from what I've read is he was a hot commodity. He was somebody who was going to be a GM very soon, very, very soon. If not this year, then the next year, right? He's been basically groomed for this his entire professional life. That being the case, I think he could make some demands to say, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want it to be structured. This, of course he's reporting to somebody, all right? But I would be shocked if he didn't come out and said, you know what? I'm the football guy. Football decisions start and stop with me. Mm-hmm. And this is where, and it can't be any other way.
Yeah.
All right. You might be able to constrain me on how much money I got to spend and things like that. All right. But that's part of football. That's part of the business. All right. You got to understand that going into it. But as far as draft, as far as the scouting department and things like that, I think he basically has to, I basically think he has to be that guy. Okay. And God of Thunder is correct. He has interviewed. He interviewed with the Jags, the Raiders, and everybody last year.
I followed my follow-up question, and I want Greg, you to outline it, and then I'll go back to Bret and then Sammy. I know there are only
Indiana's up 20-7.
Yeah, they were up, but Dante Moore is doing exactly what I thought he would do. I understand. We said it even last night on a phenomenal show we had on Real Talk Fins Talk last night. But I understand there's only 32 roles, 32 GM jobs. Why do you think, Greg, of all the opportunities he had, what made him sit? Because just because you offer him the job doesn't mean he has to take it. There are 4 people who denied the job before we were forced with Dennis Hickey, right, Bret? No one wanted this job when Philbin was here. Why does Jon Eric-Sullivan want this job? What is? Give me a good reason why. What's the enticement? Not because we're Miami. What do you believe? That this is an attractive job for a general manager?
Have you ever been to Green Bay? I'm kidding.
Have you been there?
Green Bay?
Have you been to Lambeau?
I've been to the museum part. I've never actually seen a game there. It's one of my bucket lists. Let's put it that way. Okay. But I've been to Green Bay several times. But I've never seen a game. You're coming to an organization that I believe has a passionate fan base and has an owner that is willing to spend. I mean, you want to be a GM in New York at the Giants, all right? Basically, he doesn't even spend. He's got a mandate not to spend 100% of the cap. They have a mandate to spend 95% of the cap, from what I read. Okay, come on, what is that, right? There are owners in the league who are not willing to spend and who are not willing to give you the freedom that basically I'm hoping that Ross gave them. Now, I'm hoping Ross understood what was going on, and it's Miami, man. I mean, there's still this is still a franchise, a proud history, and things like that. I would think you'd want the challenge. I think it's easier for the GM to accept that challenge than it is for a head coach, in a way. All right, and we'll get into the head coaching later, but to me, right now, Miami is not in a position to have an experienced head coach. I think they're going to have to go young head coach. And I've said it 10 times in the shows that we've been doing the last couple of weeks. I want young and hungry. And I think we got a young and hungry GM with a good background who's taken his lumps. He's interviewed for all these jobs in the past. He understood where he made his mistakes. He corrected them. He basically interviewed very well from all indications and secured the job. So I think he's hungry. I think it's going to make a difference. And I love the idea of just being intentional, disciplined, and sound. Mm-hmm. All right. One of the complaints, one of the things that I had a problem with Greer, all right, and in Miami's philosophy in general, okay, they kept bouncing back and forth between styles of play that they wanted to play. All right. They go from wanting to be physical with Sperano to wanting to be basically West Coasty with Philbin, to doing something else, then wanting to be physical again with Flores, then coming and so on and so forth. It's almost impossible to build a roster as a GM because of that, because you make bad decisions on the type of football team that you want to be. All right. There is no doubt what type of football team and organization the Green Bay Packers are. There's none. Because they've been that way basically almost my entire adult life, okay? You know what I mean? I mean, if he brings just simply that to Miami, Miami's in a better spot than they have been in 20-some-odd years. And being able to start from the ground up, I would think for a young guy, a hungry guy, that'd be something that's attractive.
Bret, what do you think? Why did he take this job?
Well, I think he saw some of the jobs that were out there last year. The Jets, who else was the Raiders and the Jags, Tennessee. I think of all of them, he had a chance to, like Greg said, spend money. Like you have a team that's willing to spend, an owner that's willing to spend, and that doesn't mean he's just going to blow money on free agents and all that. It just means he has freedom. I also think he took this opportunity to see that there's a division that is a challenge, right? But a chance to really compete in that division, a chance to, because I mean the Bills are good, but they kind of showed their weaknesses this year, and the Patriots I don't think are hard to catch necessarily. And then, well, there's the Jets, so that's like the Make-A-Wish Foundation team in the AFC East. So you have
they're Make-A-Wish with a lot of draft picks.
God. It's horrible. No, but I think it just looks like it's a good opportunity, and you can lure players to Miami. Like Miami's beautiful. Like you can lure them to Miami. You can bring them in, and he sees how Ross has been as an owner towards his people. And like it or not, Ross was very loyal to Chris Greer for a very long time, even though it was like being married to that mentally abusive ex that just kept lying to you that they were going to change, and they kept doing the same damn thing and spending all your money. It was Ross showed some loyalty, and he even showed loyalty to McDaniel until the end. He had a hard time firing McDaniel. He didn't want to just fire McDaniel. Ross has been adamant he didn't want to fire Philbin. He didn't want to fire McDaniel. He didn't like firing people. He doesn't like it because he doesn't want to just throw people out the door. He wants to give people a chance to make it work. And I think that's something that Sullivan probably saw, like, hey, this owner does want to give it a chance to work and give you more than 2 years. He's not just going to throw you out the door. That's not work and get out. So I think because he's shown patience with the front office for most of his career as an owner, I think that kind of makes it attractive. Now, yeah, you got the money thing, but here's the other thing. The guy who wrote the contracts didn't leave town. He's been with the team for 16 years, and he's managed Ross's money the entire time he's owned the team. So you have that. That's something I think people overlook with Brandon Shore. He's the one that wrote the contracts. Oh, how are we going to get out of Tua's contract? Well, I'm the guy that wrote it. I know all the ins and outs of that contract. I'm the one who set it up. I have ways out of it. I can save. I know exactly how we can manage it and save money. I know how all these contracts. I know how we can maneuver this cap and get out of this hell. I can do. I'll handle that part. You handle the talent, and we can. I'll handle the money. You tell me what you need. That's kind of how I see Brandon Shore roll, and I kind of feel like it feels like one of those things. I also feel like the reason he took this role as he working under the GM is because he has the power and say of who he's going to hire as a head coach. I really do. I really think that they're going to give him the say of who's going to come in as head coach. And I don't think, as much as people say Ross is whatever to the Harbaughs, I don't think Ross is obsessed with John Harbaugh as people think, and I don't think he's forcing Sullivan to go after him. And also, just so you guys know, his father-in-law is Pete Horner, a longtime tight ends coach who's been around the league, around a lot of coaches with the Commanders, with Carolina. So there's a lot of ties that Sullivan also has, so something to keep in mind too. So it's something that I think just because he's been in Green Bay, his father-in-law's been around. I think his dad was a coach, so he sees all the things around. So I think he feels like this is a good position for him to be in.
And let's not forget, all right. You know, we make fun of it in a way, but you know, Miami's ranked at number 1 in facilities and in places that players want to come to, coaches want to come to, and things like that.
It's an easy sell, right?
Well, that shows commitment by the owner as well. All right, and it's a lot of these little things that I think make Miami attractive.
Yeah.
I agree.
He wants to bring fans because this cup that I got at the game costs more than some of the tickets that cost this season. This cup is like $13, eh, Greg? Was it like $13?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm getting like 4 or 5 emails a week wanting me to come back to be a season ticket holder. So,
hey,
Sammy,
keep going.
Sammy, we have no choice next year, eh? Fan club weekend, eh? I have no choice this time now. McDaniel's gone, but Sammy, why do you think?
And you're going to have something for that game.
I know. So, Sammy, what are your initial? Why did he take this job? What for you attracted him? Yes, it's a GM job. Who wouldn't turn down a GM job? But what entices a guy who committed 23 years of his life to the same franchise to want to come to a franchise that is basically from the ground up?
It's a blank canvas. Basically, it's a blank canvas because they're giving you they're taking that thing onto the studs. They basically when they got rid of Greer, got rid of McDaniel, now you don't have to keep the coach. The Tua's going to be a huge cap hit, but basically they're going to basically build it for him. They're going to build it by drafting. So basically, it's a blank canvas. It's interesting. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for everybody. Wants the opportunity to grow in their job, to grow in the profession they have. So for him to come to Miami, he's going to have the opportunity. Probably Ross is the one who told him, listen, you can going to bring it to the draft, but you have anything you ask for, just ask around. If you ask for it, you'll get it. Mm-hmm. And basically, you cannot say that in Green Bay. You cannot say that with the Giants right now. The Giants fans are going crazy about Harbaugh. You see Harbaugh demands? Those are crazy. Those are crazy.
Bret? 20 million, 10 million for
30 million for him, 10 million for his coaching staff, and then full roster control. Like, calm down. Jeez.
Yeah.
Calm down, Julius Caesar.
You know who will do that? Steven Ross. And he'd rather do the other road. He'd rather do the road less travel, saying for him, like saying, listen, Let's do it right. I'm gonna stop throwing money at things. Let's build it from the ground up. And it's a challenge, but he took it. So I like that.
What you're going to say, Greg?
I'm going to say, I said it last night about Harbaugh, what his demands were going to be. He's going to demand to be the highest paid coach in the NFL, and he was going to want 7-8 years or something like that. He's looking for a $200 million golden parachute right now. That's what he's looking for.
And I'll tell you
what. Go ahead,
who's
Brett.
Go ahead. Who's going to pay that? Because like a team that still has to hire a GM and pay for a GM on top of that, like that's going to be insane. Like so, it's going to And Harbaugh hasn't won a Super Bowl. He's been a winning coach, but he has a losing record, a lopsided record to the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. And he has the last time he won a Super Bowl, the kids born that year or headed to middle school this year. I'm just saying. So it's like that's a lot of demands for someone who hasn't won much in a while. So I didn't see Sean Payton making these same demands, and he was a heck of a coach too. So I'm just saying that.
Sean Payton won with Drew Brees. He won with Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Well, that's foul. But I'm just saying, like he won with Joe Flacco, but he also
won with Drew Brees.
But at the same time, he come from an organization that has only had 3 coaches in their history, and that's the same with the Steelers, right? So it's like they're a very well-run organization, and it's hard to compare the coaches when you have that well-run organization. However, that's why we're so excited about the GM hire, because if he's exactly what he's saying he is, the big picture is now you have structure, hopefully. And if you build structure, that's what we're looking for. The coach and everything else will fall into place. That's why I keep saying, get the structure, get the system, everything else falls.
Yeah, you build it, you build the structure, you maintain the same philosophy and make sure it's the winning philosophy.
Oh my God.
Coaching takes it up.
27-7. Indiana just scored another touchdown.
Mendoza's awfully good, dude.
Yeah, and Kirk Cignetti has got those boys playing very, very disciplined football. Hell. Good Lord.
Again, Evan, for his history for me is that basically Ross, we would expect Ross to do something like that, right? To go after Harbaugh, to go after he's tried it before. So the changing philosophy, everything he's done so far, firing Greer, saying approving to bench Tua because that had to come from the order, firing McDaniel himself, telling that he loved him but he needed to go. So many changes, and now you get a general manager who basically believes in drafting, building from the ground up. This is completely different to what everybody expected. So let's give credit to the Dolphins because they're doing no one expected this, but it's the right thing to do probably.
Yeah.
No, Sammy, you're 100% correct. That's the breath of fresh air in all of this, right? That that's the hope in all of this, is that it's going to be different. All right. The last 15 some odd years with Ross, it's basically all been the same thing in a way, right? And this is completely different.
Let's give it perception. Let's just give it perspective, guys. Yes, he wasn't there yet, but since 1992, where the tree really started in Green Bay, that I think the NFL is still because if I remember right, Greg, can you confirm that how many coaches that ended up being NFL coaches off the homegrown tree, right? Like quite a few, right?
Gruden, Andy Reid, so
Steve Mariucci, I think. Wasn't Tony Dungy? Wasn't Tony Dungy off the tree also? Or no?
No, he was
off the one tree. He started so Tony Dungy started with the Steelers back in the 70s.
Steelers.
Right, because remember
he's Chuck Noll.
Mariucci, I know.
Yeah. He was a quarterback for Minnesota, broke a bunch of records in Minnesota. Then we went to played safety under Chuck Noll.
But as we know, the Dolphins are known for mediocrity and average and being average Joes.
God,
Mike Holmgren in the regular season, 75-37. Then when Sullivan arrived, he arrived in the middle of Mike Sherman. Mike Sherman was an okay coach, but had a 96-57 record in his career there. Mike McCarthy, yes, we're not a big fan, but got to experience 125 wins and 77 losses. That's a win percentage of over 600. Then he's had to experience Matt LaFleur at a 659 percentage, 76-39. The guy's been literally with a winning percentage of over 600 his entire time he's in Green Bay. How many seasons, Greg, can we count? Can we count on our one hand how many years since 2003 that the Dolphins have had winning records and a winning percentage of over 600?
Oh yeah, no, I mean, look, it's a consistent franchise. You know, it really hasn't changed since Holmgren.
No.
All right, and they're practically running the exact same offense.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. I mean, it's been tweaked here and there, but I mean the same concepts and stuff like that. And they look for the same type of quarterbacks. We want that consistency. Teams want that consistency, and Indiana's about ready to go up by 4 touchdowns. By the way.
Yep.
Yeah, but by the way, didn't we say that Dante Moore was a little bit overrated last night? Was that us?
Shh. The Raiders need him, and he's going to be our Patrick Mahomes. Shh.
I would like. I know I was asking the questions, but I would like to know what.
No, you're. By the way, this is a free range show. Anyone ask the question.
So, and I'm about to go, but I wanted to know this. I truly believe this is going to take a while. You know, what you say is completely correct. I do believe they're going to try to build a foundation. You know, when you build an instruction, the foundation has to be correct. You're building a tall structure, even more. So this is for a long time. They're trying to do something different. They're building everything from the studs up. So for me, I do believe that it's going to take a while. This might be a bumpy ride for the next, not only next year, maybe for a couple of years, because I truly believe that they're basically going to try to fix the cap, start with the draft, a lot of growing pains. It's going to be interesting who's going to be the head coach. But what's your opinion, guys? Because I truly believe that next season is going to be rough. It's not going to be a quick turnaround, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't think it's going to be a quick turnaround, but I think if you make the right decisions, the team could be competitive. Even like Brian Flores had nothing to work with, but had a fantastic coaching effort and everything to give them a fighting chance to go 5-11, and the team was not that good. So if you get some good pieces and draft well, and you make a good few moves, especially like undrafted free agents, you can give your team a fighting chance to compete and show something and start to develop something. And you get the right coach, yeah, you have a chance. I don't think we're going to be competing for playoffs by next year, but a turnaround doesn't have to be a complete teardown like they did in 2019. But they do have to get rid of bad contracts again.
So,
by the way, just on a side note before you go, who here thinks Kirk Herbstreit is one of the dumbest human beings on earth?
You already know the answer to that.
No, I don't need to think.
Every time he speaks,
he proves it every week.
I don't know.
He's god awful.
I'm pretty sure he's smarter than me football wise, so I'm not gonna.
No, he talks. No, he's not very smart.
Listen, he doesn't represent Ohio State, okay?
No, but why does he talk? Why is he allowed to speak?
You traitor!
Totally off topic, guys. Greg, why is he allowed to speak on television?
Oh, I have no idea. He's a good-looking guy. He's an empty suit. I mean, basically that. I don't understand it.
I don't know.
That was going to be my question. Is it worse than Collinsworth? I'm not sure.
But he's
gotten a lot better. I like
you know what I mean? No, he doesn't provide any insight.
No.
Okay, and
a lot of fluff. That's what you mean. You know, it's color analyst. That's what's color. They're trying to spice it up.
He uses some football terminology and verbiage, and people are like, "Oh, yeah, he knows his shit." Like, no, he didn't.
No, he doesn't. But,
yeah, he just uses really.
Just a side note. It's just every time I see his face, I like want to punch him.
It's the same. It's the same words you learn as a freshman in high school and college.
but Sammy, to what you were saying, all right. This is my. Until somebody bashes me over the head and tells me that I'm 100% absolutely wrong, I'm going to stick with this. All right. When you're a bottom team, and Miami is basically a bottom team. All right. They're a bottom 10 team. Okay. To dig out of it, you need 3 really good drafts in a row. And out of those 3 drafts, you need 10 players that are going to be in the in the Pro Bowl conversation, and you need 3 or 4 of those players that are going to be in the All-Pro conversation. You need 3 or 4 impact studs.
Well, you could
That's to be an elite team, right?
To get to a championship level team.
Yeah, elite team, yes. Okay.
You know what I mean? And it has to, and it almost has to be 3 consecutive drafts, because you need those young players on rookie contracts, okay, to basically all gel together to make it work, right? I said it, yesterday, and I've said it before. Miami hasn't drafted somebody that's even considered an All-Pro or a Hall of Fame potential player in God knows how long. All right.
Xavier Howard was All-Pro, but not Hall of Fame.
Yeah, let alone put 3 really good drafts back to back to back. Okay, and that's my hope right now with Sullivan coming from Green Bay, because they draft well. Mm-hmm. All right, they get cheap production, and that's what Miami needs. Miami needs 3 really good drafts in a row. So if we're talking 26, 27, by 28, they hope they're competing if they can stack those drafts.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you want to go in a little bit, Sammy, but I want to transition over to what the first goal of his tenure as the new general manager of the Miami Dolphins is, to hire a head coach. So when I know we talked about last night, but now that you know who the general manager is, I'll just name some candidates that are coming out. There's the offensive coordinator. There's Heffley, the defensive coordinator. Remind me his name, Brett. I'm not going to go look it up. The OC, Santa. Do you know his name off the top of your head? Sanovich. And then we talk about Anthony Campanelli. There's also people out there. Oh, you have to reach out to Harbaugh. Then you have to reach out to Kevin Stefanski. Then there's also the opportunity. I know people have been talking about in circles, because people even getting the rounds, and Darren Rizzi. There's a lot of different people. But when you think about the opportunities, I know you're mentioning Minter. What are your initial thoughts on the type of head coach you would like? And where do you, if you had to give your top 2 or 3 coaches, who would they be?
The type of coach I would like, I think, went out the window, and basically they hire him. They hire the GM, because they're going the route that coach said yesterday. They're going young and hungry. So I would like a coach who basically has the ability to, like I said before, to oversee the operation. You need the best coaches that are available. That's what Ross comes in. Open checkbook on hire the best coaching staff you need, because get the coach, get it the best facilities, get it the best coaching staff, get it well paid, and let's go. Who's going to be the Campanelli? I see a lot of people wanted him. Basically after Hard Knocks, a lot of his fans love him. He might be a candidate. I'm not sure. I rather have right now an offensive-minded coach, just because I always believe that. That was my philosophy. A lot of people like defensive coaches. I like offensive coaches. After McDaniel, probably disciplinarian, because that's what happens. You get a players coach and the disciplinarian. That's a disciplinarian, the players coach. So what's next? Probably the disciplinarian. So he's going to be a hard-nosed coach who basically knows what he's doing. Probably a first-time head coach. I don't think he's going to go for experience. So no one comes to my mind over the Campanelli right now, but it'll be interesting, and we'll have to wait and see, because that's going to be the key. Because if not, 3 years from now, we're going to be in the same spot. With the same general manager, he's not going to fire. We're going to be in the same spot that Danny had us hire. So we'll have to wait and see.
Brett, just to let you know, this is my comment of the night.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I love it. So, for me, as far as like coach, I don't care experience, offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. No, that really matters. You look at McDonald in Seattle, and they're doing just fine offensively.
John Schneider, great head coach. Where do you think John Schneider came from, guys?
Right. So, like
Green Bay.
It doesn't really matter as far as like what they coach from. I understand the philosophy of wanting an offensive guy, and yeah, there's tendency for defensive guys to like, oh, I don't want a rookie quarterback, I want the veteran quarterback, I want the run game, this and that. I understand that. So I get why people are hesitant with defensive coaches. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind non-experienced either. Sure. I mean, my top two guys would be Kevin Stefanski and Matt LaFleur. If LaFleur gets let go, he'd be my top guy. Stefanski just been fantastic with different quarterbacks. Case Keenum, Baker Mayfield has got the most out of. He's done well with not great to work with on offense. With that said, the coaches that I've seen with like Jeff Hafley, Anthony Campanelli, I actually really like his moxie. He coached in Green Bay. He did well at Green Bay. He did well with the Dolphins. He comes from Fangio. He comes from he's a very well-known coordinator. However, or one thing to keep in mind too, he comes from the Fangio tree, and Fangio is very well respected with the within the Shanahan system, and also ties to Harbaugh. So I mean, I know that that's kind of like for Ross too. But one guy I actually kind of like is Clint Kubiak, because obviously we know who his dad is, right?
Seahawks?
Kubiak. Yeah, he's a
offensive
Seahawks offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's been a successful offensive coordinator. He's done well offensively as a play caller. I think the one thing I really like about him is that he's been around. Like he spent time in the West Coast offense. He spent time in the Shanahan system. Obviously, he knows the Shanahan system. He literally grew up in it. But his dad was the one who actually changed the system for Mike Shanahan, and actually is the reason that we all talk about the Shanahan run game. It was actually Garrett Kubiak who did that, a former quarterback of the Broncos. So he was the one who developed that, and he became like the mainstay of that. And then obviously was successful with the Texans and brought his son up. And Clint Kubiak has done a good job. He has his own way of doing things. I know another Shanahan style coach, whatever, but I think I always liked Garrett Kubiak's way of doing things over Shanahan way of doing things. I think it's less gimmicky. I think it's more direct. It's a lot less motions. It's more zone run. It's a little bit more West Coast oriented. It's a good blend. And I think that would be a really good hire. And I think because of Kubiak and his acumen, I think he could probably bring in a good defensive coordinator. Again, you're probably going to have a head coach that's calling plays, whatever. But he has had a history of calling plays for more than a year. He's called it the last 2 years in Seattle, or this year in Seattle, last year in New Orleans. So he's one I would keep an eye on. I'm not necessarily saying he will, but that's where I would think he would keep, because he has worked with him before, is Darrell Bevell. I think it would be maybe a good decision to keep a guy like Darrell Bevell, who's been in that system, the West Coast system, who's been in Green Bay, who knows Sullivan, who's been a quality quarterback coach everywhere he's been. And I think he gives you that veteran mindset. I think I looked up today, he's 56. So he gives you that veteran mindset to go with a coach who's under 40. Now, all of a sudden, you have a young head coach and an experienced assistant head coach who has been an interim head coach twice, and he's respected around the league. He's not really respected necessarily as like an offensive play caller. He's kind of conservative, but he's also a guy who can help manage the team and help be that voice to a young head coach. So that's just something to look for. But my top two, Matt LaFleur and Stefanski. I would be fine with Campanelli. Stenovich, I don't even know. He's only been the offensive coordinator for a year. He doesn't call plays. I'm weary of that. Another Shanahan tree that doesn't call. I don't know. I don't know enough about him. But I think we got to start looking outside of the Green Bay current coaching staff.
That's what I was originally going to say, and I let Greg go. We hired someone from Green Bay. I don't want to. I like the Green Bay mindset, but I don't want to just copycat and take everything off of Green Bay and basically do that. I think we need a fresh perspective from two different areas. These guys, I actually would prefer the Sullivan hire someone that he doesn't have a relationship with yet, that he interviews, that wows him, that he can build a rapport with, not somebody where this is a nepotism, because the Dolphins suffer from nepotism and suffer from basically constant loyalty. I don't want him to go hire somebody who he's loyal to, that he's known for a couple of years in Green Bay. Then if the guy's not successful, we're all over again, where the Dolphins don't fire people, they're not afraid to let go people. I don't want him to hire someone he's friends with. I want him to hire somebody who's a good football coach. But Greg, what are your thoughts?
Also, I want a coach like Cignetti who's pissed off up 35-7 when his team just made a big. Okay, go ahead.
He reminds me of a guy who doesn't smile so often with glasses on this network, especially when they hired Troy Aikman as a consultant. So, So, Greg, you want
Go
Matt
ahead,
LaFleur.
Greg.
You like Matt LaFleur. I would take Matt. Matt LaFleur is the exception. Matt LaFleur is the exception. I don't want one of the assistants.
I think it's too early to tell. I'll say that. I think there's going to be a lot of coordinators, maybe even a couple of current head coaches that are going to become available here during the playoffs. It's the most important decision he's going to really make in a way. So don't rush into it. Take your time. Don't be afraid of the unknown. I'll say it that way. All right. You don't have to have a rapport with a guy and know the guy for years and years. Trust your gut, trust your knowledge, and make a good, solid football choice. That's where I would be. And if it is a Green Bay coach, okay, fine. All right. We're trusting him to make an informed decision.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I'm at. My only thing with Hafley would be that he looks an awful lot like Sullivan. So that's kind of scary in a way too. I don't know what's in the Green Bay water, but there's a lot of people that kind of all look the same up there.
He has a head coach experience, but at Boston College, right? If I remember, Hafley was there.
Yeah. For like 4 years. He was
4 years. Yeah, he was below 500, but still.
Yeah, they were the first team to like opt out of the bowl games in 2020 as well.
Yeah.
No, but Hafley is a hell of a football coach. So I mean, I don't think you could go wrong hiring him. And I was just joking about that, but
but you're right though. He kind of looks like Jim Carrey from Me, Myself, and Irene with that high and tight flat.
and I guess everybody in Green Bay has to have a bad beard. I don't know what's going on there, but anyway.
It's gonna be Hank when he's mad. All right, I'm memeing it. We need to hire him. I need to make these memes.
The greatest joy is that we stole somebody from Green Bay Packers. So anything I can steal from Dave Stager, I'm okay with, guys.
Dave, I heart you still.
Yeah,
I'll call you a little bit, buddy. I never got the call. I got stuck at work.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
No. So I don't know. Like for me, why do you think do you feel like if you had to? Right now, there's a whole Rooney Rule, guys, where you have to bring in 2 minority head coaches. So off the top of your head, outside of the organization, is there somebody that you guys feel would be an attractive person who the Dolphins should consider interviewing? Ron Rivera, Vance Joseph. I'm just giving names. Raheem Morris. Like, who would you guys consider? Not just for lip service of meeting the Rooney Rule, but who would you be interested? Antonio Pierce. Who would be somebody that you'd be interested? Bret, I'll start with you, and then Sammy, and then Greg. That appeals to you, that would meet the Rooney Rule, but you would also be comfortable being your head coach from the perspective as a coaching prowess.
I kind of like a guy who has a really underrated team system, like a Brian Flores. I'd love to just kind of kick the tires of a guy like that.
Too soon? Too soon?
Too soon. No, honestly, if I'm going to do something, I've always been one of them. If I'm an owner, has to do a Rooney Rule, I'm going to make it worth my time. At least get someone who might just hold, now hang on now. I might actually give this guy a chance. You know what I mean? Don't waste your time. So, get somebody good. I would give. I think
Weaver doesn't count. Weaver doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to now the new
team
Rooney
anymore.
Outside.
And that's smart because you can't just say, I interviewed 2 guys. You interviewed 2 assistant offensive line coaches. That doesn't count. You knew they weren't going to be. But I would say Vance Joseph would be an intriguing one, at least, because I know he's a head coach with the Broncos, and that was a whole train wreck he dealt with. I don't know that he'd be a good head coach again, but he's definitely somebody I think it's worth looking into. I think he's an intelligent guy. I think he's a well-spoken guy. I think he's a controlled, disciplined coach, and he's at least worth talking to and interviewing to see if there's been changes in his career since. And he has grown as a defensive coordinator in Miami. It was just awful, but again, players were not good, and he's been highly sought after everywhere. He didn't do great in Denver, but I feel like he's a guy that could do good again. But would that be his 3rd tried head coach? He was head coach of Arizona too, right?
Was he there, or was that Wilkes? Was that Steve Wilkes?
That might have been Steve Wilkes.
It was
I
Steve
can't remember.
Wilkes. It was Steve Wilkes.
Yeah, but I would say that Vance Joseph is worth talking to. And other than that, I don't know.
He's been out of the game a long time. Is he not?
Yeah. Who?
Jim Caldwell. What is he now?
Yeah, Jim Caldwell's been out for a long while. He was like 60. He
was
retired health-wise.
Wasn't he hired for a day with Flores and then he quit?
Yeah.
Everybody quit with Flores.
Robert Saleh is another one. I think I think you should kick the tires on him. I think a few teams should kick the tires on him just to see where he's at, what he's learned. I don't think he's a terrible coach at all. Again, he was with the Jets, so yeah.
Anything with Jets,
right? Yeah.
So
I would definitely another defensive guy, but Robert Saleh is a younger guy. I don't think the Jets were all that terrible under him necessarily, but I think his defense played pretty well under him. I don't know that he would have the right. I would interview him, see what he has an idea for offensive staff. You know, if he can get his buddy Mike McDaniel to be offensive coordinator, that'd be good. I keep doing it. No, but I think he's worth your time to talk to.
Greg, is there anyone that you have seen on throughout the league who's been a coordinator or head coach that you feel like is somebody who deserves a shot?
I'd like to see them give Minter a shot, Jesse Minter a shot in from the Chargers. I'd like to see Shula get a shot.
Well, who do you want from a to meet the Rooney Rule perspective?
I like the Minter, by the way, and Shula.
Yeah, I like Shula and Minter.
I like those two.
You know, and not just because his last name's Shula either. I think he's a
bright kid.
Who's the DC in? Who's the DC in with the Rams?
Shula.
Oh, Shula. Oh, he's a DC. Who's the OC?
Yeah.
Who's the OC?
Mike LaFleur.
Oh, Mike LaFleur. Okay, yeah. Okay.
I don't know. The Rooney Rule's kind of. I want young and hungry. So if there's a young and hungry coordinator out there that I don't know about, I just know Minter because I know his name's been coming up. He's being interviewed by Cleveland, I think Cleveland asked for to interview him. So I'm sure there's some qualified candidates. I just don't know of them right now. I don't have any names right now.
And you know, this is part of the reason that they had that accelerator program for Josh Williams, like what Josh Williams is a part of that we talked about. So that's something that like this is probably why they have it too. I mean, I'm sure the coaches and the NFL teams know more than we do. But yeah, like I actually like Greg's pretty much saying the same thing. Like just go out there, someone young and hungry, see what they might blow your socks off. You never know.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you, Sammy, has caught your eye over the years that you?
Yeah, I was checking because I do believe in downloading. You know, if we're gonna use if you want to do the Rooney Rule, I want people from the Patriots. I want people from the Bills. I want people from the Jets. I want everyone in division so we can bring them in and download what they're doing. So Terrell Williams from the defensive coordinator for the Patriots will be good. I would love that because just because of that, and the defensive coordinator for the Jets just because that will satisfy the rule.
Get Jerome Mayo a shot.
Sure, and then basically they come here and we download it because that's what they do. Remember, every single time that we had last cuts with the Dolphins, Bill Belichick used to take anyone from the Dolphins and bring him in for last 1 week. So download we're going to play against the Dolphins. I like downloading. So bring
Robert Saleh, but I mean we don't need any information.
Interview them. Download everything we need to know about how the Jets are doing things, how the Patriots are doing things, how the Bills are doing things.
Didn't work so well with Poyer. That didn't work so well with Poyer.
Oh, do they have it? I don't know. The Patriots might be a bad one for that. I'm just saying.
Well, Rasul Douglas worked out pretty well when he didn't have great success with the Bills. He worked out well. No, for me, honestly, like I would like to hear that they are interviewing. If they interview, I don't want to hear that they interview 2-3 candidates. I want to hear a plethora of coaches, because this is an opportunity for somebody to really present themselves where they're not being forced in with a quarterback. They're not being forced in with any coordinators. They're not being. They literally could fire the head coach and say, "I do not want to keep any of my full rebuild. I don't want to see one coach left off here. But let me ask you guys. This is a great question for Sammy, then Bret, and Greg. Who deserves on the coaching staff right now to keep their job? Like, if you had to name 2 or 3 guys from, and you could pull, if you want, would you like me to pull up who the current coaches are on the Dolphins? Would that help? Or no, it doesn't matter.
That would help me.
How it would help you? Okay, so I'll pull them up. Dolphins coaching staff. Because I know most of them. I just want to give you guys everything, and you can give me yay or nay.
That'll work.
So,
Yeah, we do thumbs up and thumbs
Frank
down.
Smith. So let's start on the offensive side of the ball. Start on the offensive side of the ball. Do yay or nay? Frank Smith?
The guy's the tight ends, offensive line, and a run game coordinator.
Greg, Frank Smith gone.
I can't keep Frank Smith.
Butch Berry gone.
No, he has ties to Green Bay, and his linebacker's pretty good.
You give him another chance.
Nope.
Darrell Bevel,
I think he stays.
Yeah,
like assistant head coach, quarterbacks coach.
it's hard. It's hard to find a quality.
He
Experience.
could work well. I think he would work well still with Quinn Ewers, right? Like I think he still has that a little bit.
I think he has value. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah, It's hard to find a coach.
I'm not running in the. By the way, I'm not going to do the offensive assistant and run game specialist. These guys are going to be gone no matter what. John Embry, gone.
Gone.
You know who's suffered through this? I'm telling you, the guy has suffered since the 2019 season. You know who's still with us? Lemuel Jean-Pierre. Remember when he was made?
The assistant offensive line coach. the Seahawks have him. Bye.
He was. He was
that
demoted.
poor guy. That poor guy.
That poor guy was thrown in
Okay.
He was thrown in a bad position. They're like, "Hey, buddy, we know we messed up. We're going to demote you because we screwed up."
Okay.
Yeah,
Robert Prince. The Robert Prince was from Dallas. What do you? He didn't really do much with the wide receivers. I think he's a one.
Receivers.
You think?
Yeah, it done.
So this is the 2 ones. I think this is the Studsville. Is Studsville done? Another one carry over?
I mean, how long? He's been here since Gase, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think it's time for him to move. But the one interesting one, about 3 of you, that I think the really interesting one, I could see actually working. Someone could make him the OC. Is Bobby Slowick. What are your thoughts on Bobby Slowick? He was the OC in Houston, Bret.
Not
a
a coordinator, but I would know
His brother is the one in Houston, right?
Wasn't Bobby the one in Houston?
He's the one. He's the one in Houston.
I thought
he
Bobby
was the one in
was
Houston.
Yeah, he's the one in
I thought
Houston.
wasn't he with the Bears as well?
I think so. But Bobby is the one who was like the temporary head coach, or he was the one under D'Amico Ryans and then left.
Oh yeah, Bobby was the one fired last year.
Yeah.
That's right.
What are your thoughts on him?
He's kind of the disciplinarian. He's a hard coach. I would not mind. Sometimes coaches staff need a badass, so I would not mind him being,
Pretty much it's Butch Berry, Darrell Bevel, and maybe Slowick. So you could see players they would keep on this coaching staff.
Yeah,
on the offensive side of the ball.
Bobby Slowick is the one on offense. Slowick, I think, is he's worth hanging on to.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, Ryan Slowick is the one on defense.
Yeah, Ryan Slowick's also there, defensive back. Yeah. The Slowick brothers are there. I wouldn't keep him. Yeah, if one's there, I would keep him. Weaver, if he doesn't get a job, you keep him? Give him another shot?
It depends on who the head coach is, but I'd
that's true. That's true. But
I think it's like this for me.
I'm not dying to fire him. I'll tell you that. I'm not in a hurry to fire him. So you can say.
I'm not a fan. I would not be heartbroken to see him leave.
Austin Clark. People really like Austin Clark.
Why?
I don't know what the D-line coach.
Defensive line?
Yeah, the D-line coach.
I don't think our defense line's that good.
They were on the roll. I mean, they were too much up and down. I would not keep
them. They were young, and I think they improved throughout the year.
Because most
but Jalen Phillips never improved, so he was defensive line or linebackers. I don't know.
Yeah, but Biggers and
I think the only coordinator who should keep his job is Greg Ackerman. His kickers were fine this year. He converted our kickers.
It was an improvement for sure.
Yeah. So honestly, I see this as a real clean slate. By the way, do you think that
we had 24 coaches?
Yes. And half of them we don't know who they were. But who was the guy always running with Mike McDaniel? His body man? Never.
Who knows?
That guy was so hilarious trying to keep up with that guy. By the way, speaking of Mike McDaniel, let's just talk about him for a couple of minutes before you go. Because Sammy, I appreciate you watching and coming on tonight. I really do. He's going to get opportunities with the Lions, the Browns, head coaching opportunity with the Titans next week. With Cam Ward. What do you think that he will? If you had to guess, or would you just direction? Not what you think. Do you see him being a head coach next year, or do you see him being an OC next year? Because I think he'll be one. He'll guaranteed be back in the NFL next year. So the question is, where do you think he should? What do you think he should do, and where do you think he'll end up? Because the job in the Commanders, where everyone thought was a great job, gone. Didn't even get asked. Yeah, Sammy can't leave before Jersey. That's true. That would be the next thing to do. Thanks, DSG.
I think it's 50-50. He's a head coach next year.
Yeah.
But what do you think, if you had to make a prediction, do you think, if you had to pick one, stop pushing. This is not, you can't hedge your bets. What is he going to be? And what is the best job for him? Is it the OC job?
I'm going to say head coach, and I'm going to say he's going to end up in either Cleveland, Tennessee, or Arizona.
Greg? Bret?
Man, hold on. Man, that's tough. Because at first I saw him going as an offensive coordinator.
And don't sleep on it, by the way. And I'm going to add this other sleeper. Tampa.
Well, they still had their head coach. They didn't.
As an OC.
OC.
They fired Grizzard. And they interviewed Callahan today. So
I can see it. I mean, what teams still need an offensive coordinator?
Atlanta needs an interview.
Atlanta needs a head coach.
Detroit.
Everybody needs a head coach. Basically, needs a
hold on. I think he's going to be head coach of Atlanta. Back where he worked when they went to the Super Bowl, Matt Ryan.
Hey, indoor quarterback, Tua. Tua could be in the dome. Tua could play in the dome. If Tua went to the Falcons, he could play in Tampa where it's warm, Carolina where it's warm, in 2 domes.
But he still has to play in Carolina where it's outdoors and sometimes it gets a little chilly and it rains.
Wait, that's
and then he has to go to Florida again where it rains a lot in Tampa. So and they're mean, they're physical there. They don't like that. That's ucky.
Oh, you think he can do? Do you think that Mike McDaniel, Sammy, could do something with Bijan Robinson?
That would be interesting, but I think he's taking a year off. I think he's gonna take every interview. He's gonna do the interview cycle, but I think he's gonna take a year off.
I think he'll end up.
Mike McDaniel with Bijan Robinson will show what we're talking about with why we think Achane is a good, not elite back.
If I'm him, I will say Arizona or Tampa as the OC or Atlanta. I think he wants to run and gun. I think he's actually going to consider the fact that he can play 8 games in a dome. I think he will lean towards those opportunities in Arizona and Atlanta if he gets the chance to do it.
Atlanta will make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah,
if Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins, that would
God of Thunder, thank you. We appreciate that.
Does he want to take on a young quarterback that they drafted? Well, the GM's gone. The GM's gone. So maybe they're like, hey, you don't have to stay with Penix. We can move on. So who knows?
Yeah. So, Sammy, I appreciate you staying. And I appreciate you being on here. We have lots of people watching. We're almost an hour and a half in the show. We appreciate it. Whoever don't like to subscribe, don't forget to support Kingswear, 2655 University Drive in Davie, Florida. Check them out online. Go buy your U stuff. Yes, the U struggled last night. By the way, you guys, did you see Chambliss got denied his 6 year of eligibility? Why do these players never want to leave? I didn't realize. Do you know? I think Carson Beck is almost as old as Tua. Like, he doesn't want to leave college. 7 years.
Why would you? NIL, you get paid more than you do as a rookie.
Yeah, I heard Carson Beck was my age. I was surprised by
ridiculous. He's saying receding hairline.
Who was a receiver that played for the Raiders from Georgia that everybody said was there forever? Oh no, played for Clemson. He was there forever. He was a 45 as a rookie.
Wait, can I just ask you guys a question though before I buy the jersey and we share my screen? How is as a true freshman, Tony, 17 years old. Did you see that catch last night? I understand it went out of bounds. That guy is something else. If he's not on the field, he made plays. Like he's a game wrecker, that kid.
Yeah, he is.
For a young 17-year-old freshman kid, green as can be, his mama on the sideline, like the guy literally took a ball when they were getting killed. They just kept. Do you happen to know how many times they threw behind the line of scrimmage? Carson Beck treated him like he was Achan, throwing him 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage to give him a head start, and he just bolted.
Well, that was my joke to you guys in the text. I was like, name a city with a pro team and a college team that throws the ball behind the line of scrimmage more than Miami.
Okay.
I mean,
and if you combine their arm strengths, they have maybe an average NFL arm.
Okay. So guys, before you go, Sammy, I'm going to try and do this because I've never actually done this before, but I'm going to try and do this.
Oh boy!
There goes the stream. Boom.
Here we go. Window.
Evan, clear your history before you bring that up.
No, it's okay. I don't need. Oh, no.
Oh boy!
Oh boy! So we're going to try this. So I'm going to add to the stage. So as you can tell, it's a little tight there, but you see the number 28. I could try to make it a little bit bigger. Can I? Will it work? There you go. You see, look very carefully, Mr. It's a lot. It's actually on sale tonight.
Order now and save $45.25. That's the deal, baby.
See, Nike, men's Nike, Devon Achan jersey, aquamarine. I'm going to try and scroll down. Hopefully this works.
Good Lord, that taxes are just, oh my God.
It's unbelievable.
That should be criminal.
Thank you for your order. So guys, it's official. Order summary. I kept my promise to the Finstock Sports Network. My Devon Achan jersey will be worn within a couple weeks. The elite mid-running back of the future Miami Dolphins. So before we go, Sammy, did I just waste my money? Did I just waste my money? I don't small. No, guys, did I waste my money? No, I bought 4XL. I bought it very big.
You sure? I think I saw extra small.
Yeah, right. I didn't buy the kids' jersey. By the way, have you ever seen the Jason Sanders jersey I bought that looked like a crayon box? It's the funniest jersey I've ever bought in my life. Guys, let me ask you something. Did I waste my money, or is Devon Achan going to be on this team next year?
I hope he'll be on the team.
You see him getting signed off. You think that's one of his outside of the draft, Sammy, before you go? Do you see that as a priority signing for him?
It's a business. The Dolphins need a face of the Dolphins right now. They need to sell tickets. They need someone to be there. And this fan base loves A-Chain. No GM can come with a clean slate and say, I don't care. I'm going to move in so he can get a quarterback. Who knows what might happen. But I'm pretty sure the business is always there. Saying you cannot do that. We need to sell tickets. That's going to be the cover of the media guy. What are you doing? So it's going to be interesting, but I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's staying here unless he's packaged for moving up in the draft for a quarterback. I don't see that happening.
You only save $238,000.
Yes,
or
it's a power move.
Yeah, or 1.5 in savings in cap space. Post or pre, doesn't matter, by getting rid of him. So
he's here, but I'd be shocked if they gave him a new contract.
Yeah, he's under contract for a year. If anything, I can see them giving him like a 2-year, just basically a 1-year extension, if you will. So like it becomes a 3-year contract, but that third year is pretty much like a off year where they can offload him so that you lock him in for 2 years.
This is his last year, right? This is his fourth year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you get, I can see them giving like a 2-year extension to where he's here for a year or two, but I don't see them doing anything. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, he comes from an organization that lets running backs go.
That's true.
Yeah, but I think he's something. If you're going to talk about right now, do you guys believe, Sammy, that Devon Achan is the best player on this team and the most valuable player on this team? Like, if all the players on this team, sure. if you had to, right now you have 20 of every player on this team. Is he the number one player on this team? Is it even close?
Most valuable, yes. Most valuable, yes.
Yes. As compared
because
to
you can see the difference when he's not playing. When he's
Brooks,
not playing,
Steelers,
different.
As compared to all the studs on offense all the studs on offense.
Yes.
What's wrong with
He's the-
Waddle?
I like Waddle, but I wouldn't
I'm
call
kidding him.
you know, he's.
Okay.
I wouldn't trade 2 first-round picks to move up for him.
Yeah. So, Sammy, before you go, tell everybody where they can find you, what your plans are. Even though I'm expecting you to come visit us on OverTime every week. So, what are you up to on Fins TV, on FTSN? What are your plans? Driving everyone nuts on X? What's going on?
We're on we're on hiatus for Fins TV. Season's done on Fins TV Plus. Fins TV is out. We might have a couple of bonus episodes. We're gonna be back for the draft. We're gonna be back for free agency. We have the Fins TV Awards on February 3rd. This year is gonna be, it's not gonna be as exciting as other years because the talent in this team was not as good. But we're gonna still have a lot of fun with the Fins TV Awards, February 3rd. And with Bobby on the return on Fins Talk today on FTSN.
That's awesome. So appreciate your time, Sammy. We really do. Enjoy your
See you
night. I
guys.
know it's late for you.
Later,
Take
Coach.
care, buddy.
Later, Brett.
Later,
brother.
baby. Have a
Evan,
good
talk
one,
to you
man.
later.
Have a good
Take
one.
you later, Sammy. Have a good evening, buddy. So, guys, we also wanted this season, which we're probably going to spend more next week. Who knows? We'll be talking about the head coach, so we may not get to draft stuff. But
Right.
if you're Sully, Jay, when you're right now, you're looking at the talent of this team. Yes, you have to draft. Yes, the cupboard is bare. Yes, you have tons of free agents. But if you're him, you walk the first day into your office as the general manager of the Miami Dolphins. Once you sign your head coach, and you have to start evaluating talent, you're going to have the Senior Bowl. You're going to have the Combine. What are you doing? Bret, Greg, what are you doing? Like, what's the best way to start this clean slate? Like, you have a clean canvas. You have to start. How do you build it? Like, how does he come out there? Because it's an opportunity that not most people get, right? Usually you have a quarterback that you don't really get that opportunity to really cut your teeth on. So, like, where do you start, Bret? Bret, go first.
Good, Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
Honestly, first you got to make a decision on the quarterback. All right, who's going to be your quarterback next year? Are you planning on to draft one this year or not? Are you going to make a play for Malik Willis? All right, and bring him in to be a starting quarterback. But after you make that decision, I really think they got to address the secondary. All right, and if they don't, they have to address the secondary heavily in this draft, and they also have to. It wouldn't break my heart if at number 11 they picked a wide receiver. I think you can get an impact player at 11. If they were to trade down, it would have to be for a pick next year. And if you're not going after a quarterback, stockpile picks for 27 and do it that way. Otherwise, stay there and try to get impact.
Mm-hmm.
Bret?
I agree with Greg. I was shocked, right? Shocker. But no, I agree with Greg. And yeah, we definitely need to address the pass rush, and we need to address secondary in a hurry. I'm not against addressing quarterback in this draft if they identify the guy that's theirs. I don't care if we get Malik Willis and you look and say, oh, we got Malik Willis, but you know what? We really like Drew Allar, or I feel like we can go up and get Mendoza or whatever. Or Mendoza falls, whatever the situation is. Doesn't matter. I'm not against that. I'd prefer to wait till 27 where there's a better chance at a better value or more quarterbacks. However, whatever it's going to take, get your quarterback. But I think it needs to evaluate the roster and look at, hey, we need secondary, we need pass rush, and we need to start addressing premium positions. And this team is lacking everywhere, so it doesn't really matter what position you draft. With that said, Green Bay is very well known the last handful of years, cornerback in the first round and pass rush in the first round. They've been pretty heavy on each position. And I kind of feel like that's the direction that they will go. I feel like they'll also, in the second round, they'll still address premium positions at wide receiver. I don't think they'll go for tight end or offensive line until like middle of the draft where it should go. And I really feel like that's where they need to go. I feel that the first round needs to be premium position, impact player. Go get a difference maker. And yeah, I do agree, DSG, that BPA. A lot of times BPA is usually because I had a premium position too. And I if you can't trade down, whatever, yeah, get the BPA, get the best player there. If it's offensive lineman, just go with the impact player because you're going to get more out of it. I'm not going if your best player available, highest grade player is the offensive tackle, but there's a corner sitting there that's a pretty good player too. Get the corner because the corner's going to be a better player. It's going to be worth paying. That's the way the NFL is, and there's going to be some good pass rushers in this draft, and there's going to be good secondary in this draft, and somebody's going to fall to 11, and they need to go ahead and snatch it up.
So if I'm you, because I want you to do a little bit of background on him. We're going to spend I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to take a position, each area, and we're going to look at the type of players and analyze and assess them. But how are you sitting at 11? Because I want to just talk about this player because he goes to the school over your shoulder. Is Caleb Downs an impact player?
Not an impact position, impact player though. Safety is not usually an impact position. It's like running back, where it's usually not an impact position unless they are a stud.
Is he Kyle Hamilton? Can he move like Kyle Hamilton? Like, is he a guy who could literally run your secondary?
Oh yeah. So if I say he's different than Kyle Hamilton,
I'm just saying. I'm saying not the same player, the same mentality.
He is the guy that comes in day one and immediately is the leader of your secondary. He's the guy that's getting guys in position. He's the guy calling. He's calling everything out. He's going to line up. You're going to drop him in the box. You're going to put him in coverage. You're going to drop him deep. He's going to do everything you ask him to do. Like he does everything. He's a leader from day one. He's been that way since a freshman in college. So Caleb Downs is a guy I would love to have, but I think he changes your secondary. I actually don't know if I take him over a couple of these corners and pass rushers that I'm seeing. But I'm still early into like kind of evaluating that.
Yeah, we're going to do that over the week.
But Caleb Downs, I do love. I don't know that he'll fall to 11. If he's there at 11, I do like him there. If they trade down a couple picks and get him, would love that. That because again, safety, it's not a necessarily impact position, but he is a type of player that day one steps on the field and he's the face of your secondary. He changes your secondary.
Green Bay has a tendency to trade back. They do. I think they've done that before, right? They're not afraid to collect picks. Yeah, I think.
Did they trade down with? Oh no, they traded up with us for Jordan Love. Never mind.
They don't.
No, but I've seen them. They're not afraid to move around in the draft.
They're
not afraid to move around in the draft, but I don't think that they move around really early in the draft in the first round so much. They move around in the second round and the third rounds and things like that.
You can get impact players. You need the second and third rounders to be players on your team.
No. Absolutely, and part of the reason why the Dolphins are where they are is they've missed on first and second round picks.
Third round too.
The last couple of years, pretty big time. You know what I mean?
Skip the third round. We don't like this draft in the third round. Let's just skip it.
Or we give up a third round pick to move up in the draft to draft the running back that is,
Or we draft the fifth best linebacker at Georgia that kept getting passed up by different linebackers. And
I have a great question for you. No, I have a great question. Yeah. Oh God, here come talk about. By the way, Josh, if you're interested outside the draft show to come on OverTime, I'd love to have the battle between the two draftees because I'm telling you, me and Bobby can moderate. I could give my opinion, but between Vogel and Josh, their mentality to your two mentality, it's like literally like I've never seen. It's like night and day.
But Josh and I go way back. Josh and I have been friends for like 15 years, so we go way back.
But let me ask you guys. Yeah, we're an hour and 40 in. We're going to call it a show in a little bit. I know you guys are tired. Probably this is nothing for us because it's our premiere episode. But I want to ask you guys a serious question. We're going to be in a clean slate mode. Here's my question to you. Twofold. One, who picks the quarterback, the general manager or the head coach? Two, for this franchise in 2026, someone you draft is your starting quarterback, or a young veteran, so like someone who's been in the league a couple, 3-4 years, or basically a veteran who, like a Ryan Fitzpatrick level, like someone who has only a few years left? What's the best situation for a rebuilding franchise or franchise that is starting to find their quarterback? Maybe not yet in the draft, because I think outside of Fernando Mendoza, if you go draft an Alar, that's a good opportunity. But I don't think Moore or Simpson or like that. Maybe Chambliss. If Chambliss goes to the draft, I take a chance on him in the 3rd or 4th round. But where do you guys see, Brett? You can go first, and then Greg, the right situation. So who should be picking the quarterback? The GM or the coach? Secondly, what do you see as the right fit for a team on the trying to rebuild itself?
So the answer to your question is going to be yes for that. So here's the thing: if you're going to have to bring a veteran quarterback in, right? This team is not afraid. Well, this team, Sullivan comes from a franchise that is not afraid to sit a rookie quarterback and let them develop. He's been a part of it. We figured out he started in 2003. He's been a part of it twice now. Okay. It's worked out. If he's your guy, if he fits your system, you draft him, you let him sit, let him develop. We don't have a veteran in front of him to do that. You can still develop him. That's what coaches are for. You put him in touch with the off-season coaches and all that stuff. And you get him working, you get him to fit. How I see it is you can get a guy that knows your system, depending on who your coach is. So if that's Malik Willis, or if I can't think of anybody else at the moment. It depends on who your quarterback is, or who your head coach is going to be, depending on what quarterbacks are available to sign. But I think you would have to get like a veteran quarterback, possibly bring in a veteran quarterback. If your plan is to go after a guy like, let's say, Alar, who needs to develop. He's not a finished product. He has a ton of talent, a ton of ceiling. He played in an awful system at Penn State. They don't develop the quarterbacks there. Bring them in, you can develop them. You know, if that's their goal. If their goal is to not take a quarterback in this draft, then you get a guy like Malik Willis, a stopgap who becomes like just like your Fitzpatrick or Tyrod Taylor kind of guy. He becomes that, and then you move on the next year, and you go get your quarterback. It's just really going to depend on what your goal is. So to me, if their goal is to draft the quarterback this year, you get a veteran that could stay and you can develop that quarterback. If not, if your goal is wait to 27, you just get someone who's maybe a journeyman quarterback. You just kind of that fits your system. And you just go from there. Kind of like how teams got like Case Keenum before, stuff like that.
What's Ryan Tannehill up to?
I don't want Tannehill.
I'm just teasing you.
Although Joe Flacco, I mean, for a year,
Yeah.
I would be against.
I was not a bad idea for Flacco.
Or you might see what the Bengals want for Joe Burrow.
Oh, but if they figure out what you want for Joe Burrow, then your rebuild is.
You might as well just trade up for Mendoza at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Greg, what do you see? Like, what is you have to draft, but because the Green Bay hasn't had that situation, right? They had Bret Favre, then they had developed and they drafted Aaron Rodgers. Then they drafted Jordan Love. Then they went to go get Malik Willis as a possible backup. They've been very smart and systematic with their quarterback play. So what is the right situation for a team that doesn't have a quarterback?
Well, I think you have to draft one, but I don't know if you have to draft one this year. And I'll say it that way. Or you're going to have to spend a first round pick to draft one.
I think you should draft. I think you should draft one, but he may not be your starter anytime.
Yes, and if the starter, like Malik Willis, is going to be a free agent, right? He is a free agent in 26. I would not be opposed to having that be my starting quarterback next year. All right, he's got a pedigree. He's an early, he's a first round draft pick. He's bounced around a couple times. Maybe he becomes Sam Darnold, right? It's worth taking the shot. I'll say it that way. That he could be somebody pretty good. But you're going to have to address it. It's a year. Have him compete with yours. It doesn't matter. And if you decide, go get one in 27. If you want to take one late, or mid rounds, you want to take an Alar in the third round or something like that, see how he develops, that's fine. Besides head coach, the quarterback is the most important decision he's going to have to make.
Okay. So let me go over this for you and Bret so you guys are aware. So next year, UFAs, free agent quarterbacks in the NFL. Daniel Jones. DSG is going to salivate. Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson. Marcus Mariota. Zach Wilson. Tyrod Taylor. Could be interesting. Joe Flacco. Kenny Pickett. Jimmy G. Mitch Trubisky. Case Keenum. Trey Lance. Carson Wentz. Josh Johnson. Brandon Allen. Malik Willis. Kyle Allen. Teddy Bridgewater. Brett Ripien. Gardner Minshew. Skylar Thompson. Tommy DeVito. Sam Howell. Jake Browning.
Yeah.
Is there somebody here that outside of Malik Willis who caught your eye?
Sam Howell is definitely one of them I would consider. I think he's got some talent, at least be like
25 years old only. He's only going to cost. He's only made $1 million last year.
Yeah, an inexpensive veteran. If he fails, who cares? You know what I mean? Like you didn't. It's whatever.
He was backing up in Philly. He's backs up in Philly.
Gardner Minshew's another one.
Yeah. Look, I don't want an over the hill aging veteran, but if you can find somebody in the 26 to 28, 29 year old range who has a draft pedigree, and has bounced around a little bit, take a shot.
Well, the youngest is Sam Howell at 25. And then the next youngest that we'd even look at, because we're not touching Lance or Wilson, is Malik Willis. After that, you're not going to get anybody until you get to 28, 29 years old.
And I'd be shocked if Daniel Jones isn't re-signed by Indy.
I wouldn't want him anyway.
Oh, would you do this? Let me ask you. Would you take a shot if you're somebody and kick the tires on Anthony Richardson?
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
He's a young guy and he's got the draft pedigree. You know,
he's talented.
He's yeah. I mean that if you're going to go that route, that's the type of person that you go with for 26. And the only thing that can happen is good, because if he sucks, so what? You're going to draft him 27 anyway.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, we're $1:49, almost $1:15 to the show. We appreciate everyone watching. You're going to see a Finstock Overtime here on the regular. We ain't going nowhere. We're going to be with you all season long. This is, guys, let me ask you guys before we go and we do our closing. Did you ever think when the season started, and be honest, guys, just be truly honest, did you think that when we be talking right now on January the 9th, heading into the first week of NFL playoffs, that yes, we knew the Dolphins were going to make the playoffs? I think the three of us knew that was going to happen. Us negative Nancy's over here, but well, us realists. But did you truly think that we would potentially be rid? And you can answer the question also about, do you think they're going to cut Tua? Did you really think we'd be at the point where McDaniel, Greer, and Tua, the three-headed monster, Curly, Larry, and Moe, would be gone, Greg? I never believed it in my wildest dreams.
No, the best I was thinking of, best case scenario would be 2 out of the 3. I would not think of all 3, and it still might be 2 out of the 3. You know,
there's no way.
Well, let's put it this way. All right, there's 2 things that Sully, essentially could do right now to incur the wrath of the Dolphins fans. Right. One is basically trade Achane or get rid of Achane, and 2 would be coming out and saying Tua is our starting quarterback.
Oh God, no!
Well, hang on. Majority of the fan base would be pissed off, and then there's a small wave of them who be like, "Yeah, see, it was always McDaniel's fault."
But no, I would not. I didn't think that there would be any way that this year, at this time after the season, that we would be talking about all 3. The three-headed monster being completely gone, and it's hopeful. All right, it's
great white hope.
It's I know he's less than 12 hours between an official hire or something like that, but it's different. All right, we're finally going to start to see something different, in my opinion, and that's exciting.
Yeah, and by the way, he's played ball. He's actually played football before. And did you like what you did, Greg? Before you go, Bret, before you go, did you happen to read that he actually decided that he because his dad was a coach for 40 years, right? His dad stopped coaching in 21 with Arizona. He had the opportunity to go coach. He felt that he was better in the front office than he was. Like, that's a guy who knew what he wanted. He figured out where he would fit. He didn't follow in his dad's footsteps. He could have followed the coattails of his dad, used him as connections, and he built his own path, Bret.
Yeah.
No, and again, that's one of the things I liked when I read up on him, is that I tend to like people who are self-aware, okay, who understand their limitations, who understand where they're good at, and focus on those types of things. And he appears to me to be that type of person, and that's one of the things that he said that I read that attracted me, to his possibility of being a GM. It's things like that. The fact that he didn't get any of the jobs that he interviewed for last year. Okay, he stuck with it. He learned from it, and he's like, okay, I know I can do this job. Now let's go figure out how to get it. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that.
Yeah, Tua starting gets great for the Lagasse feed. That's true. So what are your thoughts, Bret? What are your thoughts?
Talk about self-aware. That's pretty funny, right there.
But did you of all people who have been on the Greer train, on the Tua train, McDaniel give him a shot. It's sort of like you were going to get 2/3 of what you want, the two things you truly wanted as of Monday. Then McDaniel had he thought he was going to be the coach. Now he's gone. I think you understood both ways. But did you truly, truly think that you, me, and Greg would have the entire offseason to actually have stuff to talk about? Yes, we have the draft, but the fact that we could actually talk about restarting this franchise, like, did you truly believe it? Or it was just hope? And now you actually have hope.
No, it was pure hope. Like, if you told me, honestly, if you told me McDaniel got fired and Greer stayed, I would have believed it. Like, if you told me from the beginning of the season that McDaniel's going to end up getting fired and Greer's going to be maintained, I would have believed it. I also would have believed the other way, that Greer was going to get fired and we were going to keep McDaniel, because that's been the track record. And when we got to that point, it was like, man, here we go again. And I had the same gut feeling that we had in 2019, or that same feeling, like that when we fired Flores. I was like waiting for, all right, now Greer. Damn. So it was nice to see that, like, he celebrated someone losing their job, but it was nice for Miami to get a fresh start. It was good for McDaniel to get out of this mess, because I think the longer he stayed, the worse it would have been for his career, in my opinion. This gives him a chance to step away and say, let's see what's out there. Nothing's out there, or I'm going to take a year off, or whatever, and reevaluate, be an OC and reevaluate my head coach thing. So in my opinion, I'm just surprised. I was surprised when Greer got fired in the middle of the season, even though I told you it's a possibility that GMs it has happened before, which it makes sense. Maybe that Troy Aikman was talking to Ross then, because, I mean, that's about the time he said, and that's when Greer was let go. So maybe that is what happened. I'm surprised that even after keeping McDaniel, Ross decided, I'm going to move on from him. It seems like Ross learned from the last time when he had Philbin that, like, crap, nobody wants, and he's like, I'm not going to fall for this again. These candidates, like, I want to hire my own guy. And they probably had no issue with Mike McDaniel. They just wanted a fresh start like we did. And the fact that Tua got benched by McDaniel after an awful game in primetime for a rookie and to evaluate young players, it was refreshing. It was something we don't see. And it was, to me, it was just all around surprise. Greer was fired, Tua was benched, and then they're talking about trading Tua, or Tua's going to be gone. Is pretty much writing on the wall. And then McDaniel's fired, and all of a sudden, the three are likely gone, and we're starting fresh. We're starting with a GM, a head coach, and a quarterback all together. This is beautiful.
I honestly, when the season started, I said, this is my worst nightmare. 2 more years of Tua at the minimum, extension from McDaniel. New Era golf hats with hoodie with the stupid blazer twice a year, telling me that he knows better than us and that we shouldn't worry.
And is Eric? Y'all worried about
we only saw half his face all the time. He was always in the worst lighting, and I go, now we have a guy who actually people want to see, who they want to hear from. We don't know who our quarterback is, which means we get to go get excited about who our quarterback might be.
Yes.
We're not going to be going. We're not forcing a quarterback on us. We're not tanking to purposely go draft a quarterback, because if we don't find the quarterback we want this year, 27, there's going to be enough quarterbacks to pick from that you don't have to tank. And for me, as much as he was a nice guy, I had the issue with Mike McDaniel since 2022. He was too stubborn for his own way. I felt like he acted like a veteran head coach who didn't deserve to be a veteran head coach yet. Like he already felt like he was already in the know, and his team was not well prepared for football games. I am so excited for this offseason. I thought I was literally, I always say to Bobby that I'm dying in the month of January because our team is never in the playoffs. Or they're there for 5 seconds for a cup of coffee and you know they're going to lose by the first minute of the game. Then February is dead. So then you start talking draft, and then you can't wait to the end of April. We guys get to be excited this week about about a general manager. Then get excited about a head coach. Then we get to get excited for a draft. No team has been. By the way, the Miami Dolphins, for the first time in what I can remember, has done everything right. They got rid of the core. They saw that the general manager did not build this team properly. The status quo wasn't good. They got rid of him in the middle of the season and started the search and the mentality of going to get him right away. They kept McDaniel there longer than he should have been there, but they let him play out the season. Then they saw that Tua was no longer capable. They benched him to see what they could see in Ewers. Then at the end of this year, McDaniel potentially was coming back, but then they did a round of interviews. Then they had a conversation with McDaniel, didn't see eye to eye, and let him go, and wasn't afraid to do that. This is so anti-Dolphins, and that is the best part. They're doing it like they always say in Seinfeld. Whatever you're doing, do the complete opposite. That's what George did. That's what Fitzdan's doing. Complete opposite. Guys, I bet you, if they do this right, this FTSN by this time next season might be FTSN back on the bandwagon, boys. Could you imagine?
I'll tell you what, the one thing like Greg said, like it's new.
I'm more worried on the line than Greer.
Like you guys are saying, it's new. It's different. This is not what we're used to.
Nope.
Ross finally learned something. He knew, hey, last time I tried to look for a GM while I kept the head coach, it didn't work out so good. And the last guy I relied on with the GM, his 2 picks at head coach, it all fell apart. So I need to put it all together. And maybe it was Jimmy Johnson and Aikman kind of telling him, hey, you need something different. Maybe, I don't know. But whatever it was, Ross learned this hire at least gives us hope. And all of us who have been extremely critical, realistic, have just torn apart the lack of planning and vision with this team. We have torn it apart. We've corrupted Evan to the dark side with that. And all of us are yet here we are saying we actually have hope. Will we be great? Who knows? This might all fail, but it's just nice to have a fresh start and go. And it's not like in 2019 where I was like, we're going after our quarterback, but it's going to be Tua no matter what. It's going to be Tua. I wanted Herbert, Jordan Love, but here we go. It's got to be Herbert. I mean, I wish. It's got to be Tua.
and as you've heard me say it 100 times, right? If the philosophy's bad, no matter how well you execute it, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
If the philosophy's good, you still have to execute it or you'll fail, right?
Yes.
So here, Miami's had a bad philosophy for forever. All right. Now's a chance to get the right philosophy, but you still got to execute it.
Yes.
You still got to draft the players. You still got to make the right choices at coach. You still got to make the right choices at quarterback. But it feels like the philosophy's changing, which is basically what I've been asking for 20 years now.
Well,
so it's refreshing. I'll just say it that way.
And just so you know, I just looked it up. Since 2003, the first round pick of the Packers was Ahmad Carroll, corner, Aaron Rodgers, quarterback. 2003 was a linebacker. Let's see. Jordy Nelson was the first player taken. They didn't have a first round pick in 2008, and wide receiver Jordy Nelson was taken with their first pick. Clay Matthews, pass rusher, was one of their first round picks in 2009. They went tackle, safety, and then an edge rusher, 2013. DB in 2014, DB in 2015. D tackle, DB Kevin King in 17 was a corner. Jair Alexander, corner in 18. Rashawn Gary, edge at 19. Jordan Love, quarterback in 20. 21, Eric Stokes, DB. 22, they got Quay Walker, who's been a good linebacker, though. 22, Devonta Wyatt, D tackle. It's okay. Lucas Van Ness in 23, pass rusher. And then Jordan Morgan, offensive line in 24. And then 25, Matthew Golden, wide receiver. So majority of the
Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
Is what pick also.
But the point that I'm making here, the first pick in the draft with 9 times out of 10 was a premium position.
For sure.
So they got a linebacker here, and Nick Barnett was a damn good linebacker for a few years. Quay Walker's been damn good. Devonta Wyatt's been good.
By the way, are you watching the game?
Yeah, and it's off over.
Did you see it was 35-7? Did you see Kirk Gignetti, his look on his face when the guy called the penalty?
Yeah, he was. That's why I said I want a coach that's pissed off up 35-7. I want
the glasses. It's like the arms on his wrist. It's like what? He looks like he's about to put the guy in detention.
They went up 42-7, and he looked pissed. And I was like,
just saying,
all right. But
guys that look like him in the military were the mean guys. They were the guys that would rip you a new one for screwing up. I'm telling you, those guys are scary.
I lied. Guys, I lied. We're still going to go on for 5 or 10 more minutes. Why? Because I forgot something really important. Because we're NFL guys also. I haven't asked for your picks for the playoffs. So we're going to do the weekly round of the playoffs. It's perfect on Fridays because the weekend's coming. So let's just do our pick'ems. It'd be nice to do it. Join us in the chat. We appreciate everyone watching. So tomorrow, 4:30 p.m., Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and the Rams travel to the 8. They're 12-5 for the season. They lucked out in the first round. Head to the 8-9 Carolina Panthers. Who do you got in this game, Greg and Bret?
I think the Rams are going to make a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. So I think the Rams roll.
Yeah, Rams.
Then this is going to be a battle of the NFC North. The Green Bay Packers. I think they haven't done this ever. I can't remember the last time they had to do this. They have to travel to Soldier Field to face the Chicago Bears. Is it time for Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, or is it Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur's time? Bret?
This one is going to be a tough one.
It's going to be a claw fight. This one. It's going to be a battle.
They're 1-1 in the playoffs against each other.
It's tight.
I'm going to go with the Bears. Screw it. I'll take the risky one.
Yeah, I had the Rams before also, but who do you have, Greg? I know you're not a big Bears fan, but
the Bears have a team that should do well in the playoffs. I'll say it that way. They have an explosive offense capable of creating big plays, and they have a defense that creates turnovers. So my heart tells me that the Bears should win, but I think the Packers are going to go in and beat them.
I don't know what it is.
Maybe I'm hoping the Bears win so we can get back.
No, you know what's interesting about Caleb Williams? You know what's interesting about Ben Johnson when he's done? You know he did this without a 1,000-yard receiver. Colston Loveland is their best offensive weapon. So I actually think the home team wins this one just because this is such a rivalry. I think it's going to be a tight game. I see this being honestly a 1 to 3 point game. I think this is going to go down to the wire. I think they're going to claw and fight. Ray, where have you been? You missed the jersey. You missed the jersey, Ray. The jersey happened. Even Bobby missed it. Thought it was more important to go out with his wife. Shame on him. I got the Bears also. So then we got Sunday. This is not an easy game, guys. Reminder, he is not won. He's 0-7 on the road in the playoffs. Josh Allen, who would have thought, did not win this division. They have to travel to Duval to face the 13-4 Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen run Jacksonville Jaguars with a ferocious defense like I've ever seen. Greg, who do you got in this game?
This is going to sound weird, but
Me too, Ray. Ray, me too. Ray, me too, Ray. Today was hell.
I like Jacksonville a lot in the AFC right now. They are playing some very good football, and they're both sides of the ball. So and they got a field goal kicker who can make it from 70.
It's
you know what? And that matters in the playoffs.
Yeah. Bret, who you got?
Oh man, this is not the Bills' year. The Bills are just down.
And this was their opportunity of all years. No Burrow, no Jackson, and no Mahomes.
And you know, this is the year I thought they could have had a good year. And they're just depleted with injuries on defense, and
they don't have. By the way, you know what? You're actually interesting, guys.
Josh Allen is not looking good this year. I think Josh Allen's playing through some injuries that he's not.
James Cook is their best player. He's been better than Josh. They don't have premium. You know what they don't have, guys? They don't have weapons at premium positions. They don't have great corners, and they do not have good wide receivers at all.
Which is why Josh Allen is so damn. Which is there's a reason to say Josh Allen is so damn good because he has been that offense the entire time.
I think the Jags are going to win this game.
I feel like the defense for the Jags is going to be the difference in this game, and I feel like the Bills are just going to have to regroup for next year. I think the Jags.
I actually think this is an audition. Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a drive up to Jacksonville tomorrow. Maybe he didn't go home, and maybe Sullivan is flying up to Jacksonville to go check out Campanelli tomorrow. You don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he goes to watch that game and scout him. Another tough matchup on Sunday, 4 p.m. The injury list, but overcome this year, 12-5. Brock Purdy. Who did Brock Purdy have his audition against? Do you remember which team that was? Where did he get his?
Damn it.
Damn it.
Pretty much played Tua.
Oh, I played Tua on his first ever game. 7th round, Mr. Irrelevant. The San Francisco 49ers go into the team that gets booed, had a really rough season. They still won the division, but they can't figure themselves out. The Philadelphia Eagles. This is I think this is going to be a tough game, Bret. But who do you got?
Oh, I'll go on the Eagles. Well, man, yeah, I'll go Eagles, but man,
I don't trust
their defense. I don't trust their offensive coordinator.
Oh, he's awful.
You would talk about mismanaging.
I'd fire him and go get McDaniel.
God, yeah, I would, because God, he is awful with.
But does Fangio like McDaniel?
I have no idea, but I know I would not want him back because he has mismanaged an awfully talented roster.
Yeah, he honestly made Jalen Hurts look awful this year.
Yeah, he did.
And they didn't know how to use Antonio Brown to save their life.
AJ Brown.
No, sorry. You want to know why I thought Antonio Brown? Because AJ Brown's been acting like Antonio Brown. He's sort of been a crybaby all year. Greg, who do you got? Eagles, 49ers.
Philadelphia's going to win. 49ers suck.
Why are you anti-49ers? Because he's a Shanahan?
Huh?
Is it Shanahan?
They part of it is Shanahan. Part of it is they basically have pissed off and you know every good offensive player that they had, and kind of are leaving Purdy out on a limb. They don't have enough.
Right. I don't know which one he's doing, Bret Allen. Yeah, I got the Eagles also. I think it's one of the worst games of the week.
I was say I think it's going to be one of them ugly, like
boring, ugly games.
Yeah, like 17-16 or 17.
By the way, and I could see this. I could see Hurts. The over under. I could see Hurts and Purdy over under four turnovers between the two of them. Will not be. These guys can throw turnovers. Now this is an interesting game. I think we may have a different opinion on this game. Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert go into the Patriots, and Drake May and Mike Vrabel. What do you got in that game? Sunday night game against in Foxborough, guys. Greg?
My brain's telling me that the Chargers are going to win that game, but I think that Vrabel is going to figure out a way, and the long travel, West Coast to East Coast, cold weather, I think that balances everything out. but I'm still going to stick with it. I think the Chargers win this game.
Yeah, I don't think they're ready yet. I got the Chargers. I don't think the Patriots are ready, and I think this is a Herbert's opportunity to.
They're 1-2 against teams with winning records this year.
Yeah, they have not faced adversity. Adversity has not been their opportunity.
Yeah. So I'm going to stay with that.
Me too, Chargers. Who do you got, Brett?
I'm going to take the Patriots because the Chargers have not traveled east very well.
But I'm sure they're already there. If I'm not them, I'm already there.
They could be, yeah. For now, I'm going to go. I'm going to go Patriots over the Chargers, only because I think it'll be a close game. I'm hoping Chargers win though.
Well, the next game, Monday Night Football. I think one of these teams in this Monday night matchup is actually the sleeper team of the playoffs.
I agree.
So Texans, Steelers. Hopefully, Brett, you know who my sleeper team is. Hopefully, you pick it right. But who do you got in this game?
This is what I've been racking my brain on since we started doing this pick.
But there's a sleeper team here.
Now, the team that I think might be dangerous and they snuck into the playoffs is the Steelers.
Oh,
in the division.
Well, on the opposite side here.
So I think they can be dangerous. So here's my thing. I think both of these teams are dangerous. Everybody's overlooking the Texans because they started out slow and just kind of
9 in a row. 9 in a row.
Quietly, nobody was talking about them on a win streak, and they quietly just battled back, stayed the course, and just did what they're supposed to do, and it got healthy. I think this is going to be a close game. I'm having a hard time because the Steelers haven't looked great this year, but something like makes me think like Aaron Rodgers is just going to go off in the playoffs, like turn it up to another level. I don't know why, but I'm going to go Steelers over Ravens. Steelers over Texans.
Greg?
The Texans should win this game. I don't think they will. They're a dome team. They're going outdoors. They're playing at night in a northern city. This usually is a disaster. And you know what? If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm playing with the field. I'm not giving their defensive ends a chance to get any footing whatsoever to rush Rodgers. And I'm using home field advantage.
And I'm telling you right now, and Rodgers played in Green Bay in sloppy field conditions. I just something tells me Rodgers is different in the playoffs until he plays the 49ers.
He can't move. He can't move.
Yeah, but something tells me that they win this game.
You know what it is for me? Will Anderson is a beast, but I remember back in 22, there was a guy with a beard. Fan of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Talked about a guy named Daniil Hunter who was playing for the Vikings. And I started watching this guy. And I said, I'll picture him in a Dolphins uniform. Then he ended up on the Texans. And I saw him in a Texans uniform. And I go, oh my God, that guy is a monster. That guy is a game wrecker. Mm-hmm. And I actually think with these games, like the one in the Pittsburgh, is a defensive matchup. I don't think this is a high-scoring game. And I just think this defense can overcome what the offense throws. The offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers is not very good. Mm-mm. It isn't. So this defense, I don't think they have to rush 4. I think they could rush 3. I think they can just run whatever they need to. I think D'Amico Ryans is an up-and-coming head coach. I think he's a smart head coach. They have a great secondary. They have weapons on the outside. They have a good quarterback who's developing. They have a good running game. I just think the Texans are I'll tell you right now, the Texans are my sleeper pick of the AFC.
No, the Texans are the better team. The Texans are the more talented team. I do not doubt that whatsoever. I will not argue that point. I just think it's a dome team going to a northern city at night in January. And you know what? The history of the NFL says those teams don't do well. So I'm taking Pittsburgh in it.
Okay. So those are our picks. We'll see where they end up. And don't worry, I remember exactly what they were up here. But guys, we're almost 2 hours and
worked
15
out.
minutes. We are going to be calling it a show in a minute, but we've gone. It's a pleasure premiere show of the off season. We have so much to talk about. By next week, we'll be talking about more than likely a head coaching hire, hopefully some roster decisions potentially. I know they started doing some small stuff today, but nothing great. Maybe they'll cut Tua by next week. Who knows? Guys, we know where we can find you. I don't need to repeat that. But what do you guys, any final words after such a great week of talking from Sunday to last night to today? Like, I think it's been an awesome week of podcasting. So any final words for the two of you?
Go Bears so we can get Matt LaFleur. No, I'm happy. Again, this could go the other way. This could go bad. We could completely miss again. But at least,
and if you want to answer Anthony's question, because he just answered a question as well, I can bring it up for you.
I mean, I think that obviously there has to be reason. There should be belief that, like, if Matt LaFleur is just looking at his record, he's been single-digit wins and hasn't had playoff success in the last 4 years. So, yeah, I can believe if they lose this game as a one and done. Yeah, I could see them firing him, and so I definitely believe that he would be their top guy. And I think I think we're could be headed in the right direction. We've been burned so many times. I'll be a little skeptical and hesitant, but I'm excited for a fresh start. And this is going to be a fun offseason because we have hope and we don't know. And for the next week, maybe 2 weeks, we don't know the direction of the head coach. And I agree with Greg. I hope they don't rush it. And this could be actually exciting and fun to see where they go. Like you said, Evan. Every year this could be exciting where it's like, oh, how are we going to get better? Oh man, we lost this guy. Man, are we going to have a replacement? Man, this is going to be exciting. So, and if after a couple of years we start seeing quality draft picks again, that's what gets me excited because I'm a draft nerd. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But it's not a rebuild. This is not a rebuild. The reason I don't think it's a rebuild, before you go, Greg, is because last time we had a moron planning out our team. This is not a rebuild. This is a revival. This is not a rebuild. This is a revival.
This is like a restructure of the.
This is a rejuvenation. Like when we in 2019, I think we had a little bit of hope because the fact that the team was going to be willing to tear it down, but then they jumped the gun a little bit with Tyreek and all that. This for people as fans, they honestly, it's that, guys. My favorite movie of all time, Greg. Before you go, The Shawshank Redemption. Right? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's one of the most beautiful movies. When Andy Dufresne gets out of the shit tunnel and he's out there like this in the rain, like I'm free. That don't you all feel like that, guys? Like honestly, I honestly felt like that when they fired McDaniel. I was like, I couldn't move. I was numb. I froze. I was frozen.
And you knew how much I respected McDaniel as a football guy. And person is just kind of like a fresh start. Yes. Good, Greg.
Yeah.
I've been puking along the way. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Upset stomach most of the time.
No, look, it's a fresh start. I can't wait to see what happens here. The only thing I would, not that he needs my advice, but I'd say, Sully, interview a bunch of people for the head coaching job.
Tons.
Yeah. Get insight.
Learn
what people are thinking. If it's 12, 15 people, so what? It doesn't matter. Just interview them, see what you like, and go from there. And don't be transfixed. Don't have to have a short list. You got plenty of time here. Don't be afraid to take it.
And I was a good point. Interview as many people as you can, because what you can do is, even if you don't find one of those guys to be your head coach, for example, let's say right now you're Darren Rizzi and you bring him in. Okay. He's the highest level has been special teams coordinator. What if you give him a different role, right? Like if you go get someone who's like a mid-level special team coordinator. Remember, John Harbaugh was a special teams coordinator. If you go get somebody who doesn't have the experience, but you bring him in, you don't realize that you might be able to give him not that high level promotion, but you might be able to make him a good coordinator for your team. Right? Like it might be the right fit that you have that guy top of mind for the head coach you're going to hire. Hey, I interviewed this guy. This is a guy you should go talk to.
Exactly. And you know what? Constantly be learning. And even if you talk to these dozen, 15 people, whatever. All right. If you learn something new from each one of them, you're better off for it. Right. So absolutely talk to people. Don't be afraid. Don't have a short list right now. Go just talk to people. And that would be my only advice.
I could finally get rid of this.
Oh yeah.
I can get rid of it.
I know it's like it's amazing. Guys.
No, but and yeah, I agree with that. Also, on top of all that, just don't waste your time with guys who don't fit your system either, or don't fit with your vision. Stick with your vision of what you want. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying just shut everybody out, but I'm saying your vision. Don't stick with just Green Bay guys, but stick with that vision. Like you have, okay, Stefanski comes from West Coast. Just because you haven't worked with him directly doesn't mean anything. You know, you have guys who've worked with, or the guys he's worked with in the past have worked with guys you've worked with. You know, so like go with that kind of, like, and don't be afraid to go after guys like that because they do fit your system.
Exactly. So guys, appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week.
I agree,
even
Ray.
More fun Dolphins news, NFL news. You can laugh at all of our playoff picks. We'll probably get most of them wrong. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. And for sure tonight, no better time to say it. Fins up.
Fins up.